There's the red light. What's happening, Fish and friends? Welcome to another live. I didn't even get the thumbnail done. I hopped on a little late. Ethan and I were talking, then Dizzle hopped on. He was showing off some new stuff, but we've got a fun one tonight. Tonight should be an interesting one, the first one of 2023. So first off, Ethan, Dizzle, Happy New Year. What do you guys give me one cool thing you've done for the new year? I don't ask for resolutions because I think resolutions are dumb. If you believe in them and do them, more power to you. But what's one cool thing you've done in the 7 days of the new year?
You want me to start? I'll start.
Yeah, you.
On January 2nd, I caught fish in open water because Michigan doesn't have ice. So 2 days into the year, I've already got 4 species. That video will go up in a couple days, so pretty excited about that.
And what's your, so for anybody that doesn't know you, Dizzle, I'm gonna hop in here. Sorry, hold your thought. So for anybody that doesn't know you, Ethan, we actually just hung out on a live on Burley's, and I was like, dude, how come we haven't done one? We had talked about before doing one, and we actually did a little lure swap. Gosh, that's actually been quite some time ago, but for anybody that doesn't know you, what is the story of Ethan? Who are you? Where can they find you? What's going on? Is that a Strawberry Crush you're drinking there?
No, it's something from a Voodoo Ranger mix variety pack.
Oh, okay. Dad pop.
It's quite delicious, honestly. It's the first time I've ever had it. First sip is good.
I thought you were drinking Strawberry Crush or maybe Shasta.
You know, I'm having a couple beers. It's a Saturday night. You know, whatever. Gonna enjoy myself. So as my shirt says, and as this flag says, Kansas. I'm from Kansas originally. So if we want to take it all the way back to where I was born, that's where I'm from. Currently live in Michigan. I have been fishing since basically I could drive, and I kind of discovered that I loved fishing. And I've always been kind of a bass fishing, just like diehard bass guy, like a lot of the folks probably watching this are. But over the last several years, I've started to pick up a lot more ultralights and really light gear, and I've started to become big into multi-species fishing. And just like you know, I like to document my stuff and put it on YouTube, have fun with that. And so basically what you can expect from the channel is just a lot of ultralight and just fishing for numerous species of fish in general. And yeah, that's kind of who I am. Also, I'm a dad and a husband, and I love my family very much, and I fish as much as I can, but they come first.
As they always should. Just like Dizzle, his family comes first. He's married out there in Nebraska. I just got a text from him today. He was out chopping wood. So since becoming a go Big Red, go Huskers fan, he's out there. He's apparently a lumberjack too. So hey, I still love you, Dizzle. Even if you are a lumberjack, play the part. You know, do whatever out there.
I had my I don't know where it is. There's a red and black checkered flannel back there hanging up. So
that's what I pictured when you said, "Oh, I'm out chopping wood. Yeah, I can make the live." I'm like, how random. Of course you're out chopping wood. Why wouldn't you be?
I mean, it's all iced up here, and I don't have any ice stuff here, so it's like I wanted to be outside. It's not
like you have a nice hut and an auger and a bunch of ice stuff. You could go ice fishing.
I actually got a new adapter for a power drill. So it's one of those that you just hook up to a brushless drill, and it actually has the handle that sticks out the side. Yeah. That way, if for some reason it pops off of the drill, the entire thing isn't going to fall just down the hole.
That'd be bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen people like put frisbees and stuff at the top. Some of them they sell it with like the round thing. So if your auger bit comes off, it doesn't go down the hole. But
yeah, I've even seen some that have like a real buoyant like pool noodle thing on it. But I'm like, I don't know as if that's going to be enough to hold it from going under.
I don't know. We'll have to see. You'll have to brave the cold. I actually got out speaking with Yackenstein. Old Greg and I met up today. Went fishing up in your neck of the woods. I said I was going up there. He's like, let's meet up. Yeah. So it's not going to make the video because all I caught was bluegill and crappie that were about 4 inches long all day. But I was joking. I'm like, yeah, hopefully this makes a video because Greg's going to be my new Randizzle. And I asked him about clamshells and spiders, but he didn't have the same reaction. It wasn't as fun to make fun of him on that. He's like, yeah, I mean, I don't really care about spiders. I don't really care about clamshells. I was like, oh, that's no fun. Damn it, Greg.
Ridiculous.
But anyway, So Dizzle, Ethan, thanks for that. So everybody go follow Ethan. And I'm still used to calling you the online outdoorsman. It's it's the switch of fish everything now. What caused that? What was the reason? I don't know. Never heard.
Yeah, so I originally came up with the name Online Outdoorsman, and when I originally did that, my plan was to make a lot of just kind of outdoors focused videos. I've always loved fishing, but I also like hiking and camping, that sort of thing, and so I kind of had an intention of doing more just total outdoors. And what I realized after a little while was that fishing is pretty much everything to me, and I never did any of the other stuff. And so here I was about 5-6 years later, and I made all these videos, and I just kind of realized to myself that I felt like the name Online Outdoorsman really just didn't make sense, and it didn't really fit my channel, and I felt like it might potentially be holding me back just for people because they didn't necessarily understand what I was all about just by seeing my name. So I wanted to make something, just change gears a little bit and just make something that kind of fit a little bit better. So I ultimately went
YouTube's
with
weird like that.
anything.
Yeah, it'll make you do that stuff.
It was kind of hard to find a name because these days everybody has 12 different handles on every social media platform. So
dude, don't even get me started.
But
don't change your avatar, and 2, make sure your name is the same on everything. Otherwise I can't keep it straight. So if you don't do that, then get off my lawn. I don't want to talk to you.
Your logo is epic. I love that. Just Debo. It's so perfect.
Dude, it came out of necessity because I was like, I think actually my YouTube, I'm not even going to go to it. It's so bad. I'm not techie when it comes to anything. So it was just like, I was playing around with it. I'm like, oh, I like this. It's just regular, simple, simplistic, done. I like it. So it came out of me not being very techie and good with this stuff.
Well, it's a good one, so it works.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Dizzle, lumberjack Dizzle, what have you done that's fun in the new year?
I really took it upon myself to make myself learn and kind of figure stuff out. So I put up 2 new security lights outside, messing around with electricity. That was fun.
Oh,
nothing, knock on wood, nothing's burnt down yet.
See, you're still alive. That's a good sign.
Yep. I've taken apart a chainsaw, cleaned it all out, put a new bar and chain on, messed around with the motor a little bit. And I put on a new hood latch on a car also. So I'm just like, you know what, man, I'm going to figure it out. I'm just going to dive in head first. Doesn't matter how deep it is or if the water's frozen, either way, diving in.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? Something could burn down.
Who knew Dizzle was a man's man? I like it. Dizzle. Stephen Dacey with the $5 bomb already. I'll drink to that. Stephen, thank you, my friend. Recommendation. Ooh, hey, we've got the right guy for this. So Ethan, if you didn't know, he's big into ultralight fishing, finesse stuff. So we're going to pick his brain on some of that, especially because he owns his own business, and that's going to kind of be a side tangent. We're probably going to get into a number of tangents here, but Ethan's got a cool story that I want to pick his brain on some stuff. So this is going to be an Ethan question. Recommendation for a 6-foot light, fast action spinning rod for smaller species. Looking for something similar to the Shimano Sensalite.
Yeah, I tried to comment on it a little bit in the comment section, but I guess my question back was, why not the Shimano Sensalite? Because that's a great rod for a 6-foot light. And he said that he's already got a couple of them and he wants to try other things. So as far as other rods that are kind of similar to that are similar price range, I think that a couple that stand out to me would be 13 Fishing Defy Silver. It's like $50. And that's a great rod. I don't know if they have a 6-foot light specifically, but I know they have 5'6" up to about 6'6", and I think they have a 6-foot light. The Temple Fork Hand, another great one for numerous techniques, whether you're jig fishing or you throwing a little bit of spinner for trout, that sort of thing, also great. And then the Bass Pro Shops Panfish Elite could be good too. And if some people really like Bass buying pro type stuff just because of like the warranty, and you can always like bring it back in person. And that's obviously a nice value from folks. Those are a few that stand out to me. Obviously, if you ever have more questions, I can obviously handle those via like DM or something on Instagram.
Cool. Thank you for the info on that. Yeah, because my my information would have been, let's see, I've still got a Abu Garcia Villain 2.0, I think, that I got from Walmart. It's like a 5.6 ultralight. That's my go-to trout rod, and I will fight people with that because it has been amazing so far. So I'm not a huge ultralight guy.
I need to try it. I haven't tried that one. I've tried about 20 of them, but not that one.
Dude, I don't even know if they make them anymore. I think it's the Villain 2.0, but stock trout, I don't care what anybody says. Stock trout with, so the old school me was like a rooster tail, was one of my favorite, confidence baits. I didn't even know there was like MEPS and other stuff that had spinners. To me, everything was a rooster tail, but that thing with a rooster tail on it around here for stock trout, it's a blast, especially when it gets super cold. I don't care what anybody says. It's a ton of fun. Let's see. Kuda in the house. Kuda is a good cat. Love you, brother. He said mule fishing has some amazing little baits. Great dude and great baits. And that's going to be a perfect segue in. So, Kuda, thank you for bringing that up. Ethan, tell us about what is your business? What are these little baits that everybody's talking about? I'm going to bring it up in another tab so we can look at stuff while you're talking. Because, so I said some time ago, did you ever catch anything on those jerk baits? Did you throw them?
Yeah, I caught a few fish on them. I think caught a couple bass on them. And honestly, I was just like, I've been going through all my tackle, which I'm sure you can relate. It's overwhelming. And I was looking at those. I'm like, man, I need to go back out and try these again because I kind of fell off my my trout fishing game. I just haven't really done a whole lot of trout fishing. That was kind of my plan with those. But yeah, because the big brown trout, they love creek chubs. They'll smash them, and that was kind of the whole reason I wanted a creek chub pattern. I need to pick those back up, but I did catch some fish on them. So
good. I'm glad. So we did a little trade.
Yeah.
And I will show you all here. So, okay. So tell us about mule fishing. I'm going to present here. If my stuff will work. Boom. Okay. So real quick, I wanted to jump over here, and is that the homepage? Why does it not show? I thought I had your picture on the.
Oh, that's in the about. Yeah, I don't need my picture right on the front page. That would be turning away.
It must have been like the Instagram link or something had it, I thought. Okay. So tell us about mule fishing. Where did this come from? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, it's like I've always been kind of a bass fisherman, but then I kind of started getting really heavy into ultralight fishing. And when I did, I realized there wasn't a lot of the stuff that I was looking for as I started to become more interested in ultralight fishing. I found that there was a lot of like really basic jig heads, and a lot of the jig heads featured either too large of a hook, so like your typical round ball crappie jig, or the ones that did have a small hook, they just had weird head designs, or they didn't have any keeper, or they didn't even, some of them weren't even painted. And I just thought that it was like, wow, there's really no quality jig that I'm looking for here. And so I decided, well, maybe this could be something that I could help with. And so that was kind of the original idea with Mule, was to do some ultralight jigs, and that's what the original jigs are, is the Mule jig. So I started out with 1/80th, 1/64th, and 1/32 ounce Mule jigs, and those are still available today. This is a newer jig that you're showing right now. But the reason I launched
the bottom one. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, scroll down and click on one of them. Yeah. So I started out with the Mule jigs. I've got 5 sizes now, and ultimately the goal was really to create something that's fly fishing. I think we all know that, as you know, we're serious fishermen. We know what we're doing. So when we walk down Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's, we kind of know exactly where we're going, exactly what we want. But I felt like for most people, it's just not very approachable. And I feel like that kind of takes away from the sport, and I feel like it makes it a lot more intimidating for your everyday angler and just people that are new to it. So I wanted to make something a little more simplified and a little more universal. So many things today are technique specific and they're species specific, and that's not at all what Mule is about. Mule is all about multi-species fishing, and it's all about like light line fishing. So where you can catch bluegill, bass, trout, all on the same type of gear. And that was really my goal with it. And that's where it's kind of continued to develop. So I started it in November 2019. And over the last several years,
I didn't realize it was that new.
Yeah, it's pretty new, but it's grown quick. And fortunately, every single dollar that comes into it, I just reinvest into the company. And it's allowed me to, really innovate and create some stuff that I don't really think just about anyone was doing at the time. So Mule had the first ever micro mushroom style jig. It's got the smallest sizes out there. No one else is doing quite anything like that. And then I got into plastics, and I promise I won't be so dang long-winded today, but that's just kind of how it goes.
Hey, man, that's why we got you on here. You have a very specific and cool. People ask me about BFS fishing, which that's something we'll have to ask about too. I don't know how much that. I know you've got a couple, but I don't know how much you can talk on the numbers of those. But people ask me about BFS stuff. Man, I've barely dipped my toes into it. I'm just a big dummy that likes to throw like a medium heavy with a bait caster on it. I can't find the joy in BFS, but I do like ultralight for certain things. Like I said, trout. Rainey and I have done some crappie fishing and stuff.
Ooh,
but if we want an expert,
you're going to bring up the trout trip. It's going to have an issue.
No, I wouldn't do that to you, Dizzle.
We've all got one of those.
Yeah, it happens. So the donkey tail. So sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, but yes, be long-winded. Talk about this stuff because it's a really cool different segment like in the fishing industry. You can find the people like you said that have a lot of technique specific stuff. You find some companies that make, and I think most of us here are probably bass anglers. For people that watch my channel, I do bass fishing 90% of the time. It's what I enjoy, not because I don't do the other stuff. It's just I like to do it. But to get into somebody like you, Ethan, that has the experience, and especially with designing stuff, that's why I want to pick your brain. So anyway, that's my long-winded answer of yes, be long-winded and talk about some of this stuff because it's cool. So the donkey tail, I saw you stretching one there. I've got one up on the screen. Tell us about the donkey tail.
Yeah, so the donkey tail and the donkey tail junior, which is what I have in my hand right now. This is 1.6 inches. The donkey tail is 2.8. Those were the first plastics that I started offering, and those were really built to complement the jigs. And when I started the company and put the jigs out there, I was really hoping to get into plastic someday, but I didn't really know if I would or wouldn't. And fortunately, I was able to make that happen, I don't know, a year and a half or a year after starting Mule. And it's a high stretch plastic. So very similar to some of the other, brands you see out there. High stretch, high durability. And that was so critical when it came to the development of Mule. Is I was not going to put out a traditional soft plastic. There's already plenty of panfish soft plastics out there, and they're all wonderful, right? Like I love Bobby Garland. I love Gulp minnows. I'm not going to trash talk any of them. They're all wonderful. But the problem with them is bluegill and other sunfish and other smaller species in general. They have small mouths. What do? They grab it and they rip, they thrash, and they rip stuff up real quick. So the goal was to create something that's a little more durable that allows you to fish more and re-rig less often, right? And I was able to do that. And so I launched the Donkey Tail Junior and Donkey Tail first because a little tiny swim bait, I would say, is one of the most universally accepted profiles for numerous species. So whether you're talking bass, trout, crappie freaking love them, bluegill, list goes on. But then you will see, if you look at the website, there's a couple other plastics as well. And really the goal is to continue to kind of round out the ability to go fishing anywhere, anytime, and be able to catch numerous species of fish. And so minnow profiles, insect profiles, things that are a little bit more universally eaten by numerous species of fish. That's kind of what I focus on. So you're never going to probably see you're not going to see a big swim bait or a big chatterbait type bait from Mule. That's just not who I am. But the small, bait fish type stuff that everything eats, that's kind of what it's all about.
And that's what I like. Yeah. Doing your thing, doing what you like, but doing it in a way that it's helpful to other people, things that you don't normally see on the market. Like, the donkey tail, maybe you compare that to some other stuff, but as far as small jigs, like you don't see stuff like this, little tiny Ned rig / swim bait jigs, especially in, a bunch of different colors. Really cool thing. And then not only the donkey tail, there's similar stuff out there, but like Ethan said, some, the super stretchy stuff that's not going to tear up. He's got a whole bunch of different things under here as well. What, kind of going off on a tangent, I guess, what is your number one seller, plastic and color?
Ooh, I don't even know if I know that off the top of my head, actually.
Oh, come on. I'm putting you on the spot.
I think I probably know it, but I could be wrong. So don't, kind of probably depends on the season. Donkey Tail Junior would likely be my number one. And I think probably the most popular color is probably green pumpkin, but
okay, that makes sense.
honestly, a lot of the stuff sells pretty similar. Like it's not, and that's really good for me, right? Like I have something super lopsided that's not necessarily like business friendly, we'll say. And so that's kind of my goal is never to, I don't want to offer 50 colors as much as some people would love if I offered 50 colors. I can't afford to offer 50 colors. And I also don't think there's actually a need for 50 colors. So I try to keep things really simplified and give you all the options you need, but not a bunch of options you don't. So if you looked at the color, you just looked at all 6 of them next to each other, you can see you're covering down on a spectrum of colors there. And I would argue that those 6 right there will cover down on a huge percentage of fishing occasions just based on the different contrasts and color profiles.
I would agree. And this is, like you said, you don't really need tons of colors. As anglers, we like to complicate things. I think everybody's always looking for that secret, what's the word, that, you know, that magical color, that magical rig that will work everywhere and catch more fish than all your buddies. But like, I'm guessing that black and green pumpkin are probably 2 of the best sellers. As boring as they are,
black doesn't sell that well. And I think it's funny though, right? Like, like Debo, black is deadly. But I think for whatever reason, people like glamorous stuff a little bit more.
It's not flashy. Yeah, it's not flashy. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I bet these are like, those 2 are your best colors.
I'm like the anti-flashy company. Like that's my goal. I don't want to be flashy. I want to just work. That's it. Like I want to be like Mule. The reason I named it Mule is because number one, my grandpa and my grandma just like, they loved the mules growing up. And that the silhouette on the logo is my grandpa. But number 2, they're like a notoriously hardworking animal. So like my goal is for this to just work hard for you. It's not about being flashy. It's about just getting the job done.
Yep. I love it, dude. Yeah. And that's like kind of what I was saying is, you know, anglers, we like to overcomplicate stuff and we like to get these weird special one-off colors. But I think black, and it's funny that you say that it doesn't sell that well because it's boring, you know, like an all black or like an all green pumpkin, like kind of boring. But dude, I mean, this will work in clean water, dirty water. It makes a silhouette. Same thing for worms, like a big ribbon tail, all black worm. You know, like my dad and I are huge in tequila sunrise. But is that really going to do that much better than an all black worm? Maybe not, you know, probably not. But it comes down to fishing is a weird, like, confidence thing. And then I think it turns into a brand loyalty thing. You know, it's like once you get confidence in a bait, I caught fish on a Gary Yamamoto Senko. I got another pack of it and I caught so many fish on a Gary Yamamoto Senko. They're the best one. And then everybody loves Gary. I'm not going to say everybody. Then this person loves Gary Yamamoto, right? They become brand loyal because it worked. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, again, it comes down to a confidence thing. But yeah, kind of interesting that you said that. Okay, let's see. Where else are we going? I don't even know where I'm going after that that tangent. So number 1 seller, Donkey Tail Junior. I was going to guess the regular Donkey Tail and green pumpkin, and that's not a bad deal at all. Most of the plastics, if I only had to choose one color, it would be green pumpkin because you can get those spike it markers and dye the tail chartreuse or orange, or you know, paint the top of it black, or you know, the bottom of it red. It's a good color that accepts a bunch of stuff. And I would say maybe like a pearl. This is probably the closest to a pearl. And all white is pretty boring, but again, also a super good color. Okay, so that's where I was going with those. Again, off on a tangent. Now, I know one that I have not tried that the Burley boys talk about is the Mule Minnow 3.2. So what was the deal with this one? What caused you to create this? Was there a need for it? Was it something you felt like, hey, this would just be cool? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so I first did the Donkey Tail Junior, and then I moved into the Horsefly, which is an insect profile.
Oh, let's go back to that one. Yeah, somebody asked about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. This is an insect profile. That was my next thing that I wanted to do, and the reason is because a lot of people don't realize it, but like sunfish, crappie, any panfish, yellow perch, a huge percentage of their actual diet is insect larvae. They're not chasing minnows near as much as people think. Like bluegill, just about everything they eat is insect larvae, some type, or plankton, like zooplankton, phytoplankton. And so it was important to me that I offered something that was a little bit more on par with what fish eat. And so the horsefly is kind of meant to look like kind of a goofy alien looking type, insect larva. It kind of looks like a mayfly larva. But that was my second thing. And that's been really wonderful for a lot of panfish applications, but obviously like trout too, right? I mean, trout eat insects and bugs, and that's a huge thing for them. So anyways, I didn't want to skip that one. But then after that, I got into the mule minnows, and that was kind of my plan, was to go from donkeytail junior and horsefly into the mule minnows, which you just brought up. And I launched all three sizes at the same time. So the 1.2, 2.2, and 3.2. So you've got basically three different profiles that you can offer. A 1.2 inch mule minnow is literally 1.2 inches. I mean, it's tiny. It's kind of difficult to rig. It's really small. It's hard to cast. You have to be really ultralight fishing if you really want to get into that. But that one's been deadly for your sunfish applications. The fish that have smaller mouths, and especially when they're high in the water column and they want a slow rate of fall, tiny profile like that on a tiny jig. I mean, it's just always going to work. And that's actually what I caught fish on the other day in January, was the 1.2. The 2.2 is a little bit more around like your crappie yellow perch. That 2-inch profile is very universally accepted. So, I mean, you can still catch big bull bluegills. It's really, really good for those larger panfish. And then ultimately, like you kind of mentioned, is the 3.2. And I wanted to offer a size that gave you just a little bit more water displacement, something that was a little bit larger, kind of attracted the attention of a little bit larger game fish. So I catch a lot of crappie on it, honestly, but I catch a lot of bass on it as well. And then you could twitch that through a pool of water for trout, and it would absolutely work as well. So the goal was to continue to kind of offer that lineup of multi-species applications, but again, kind of fine tune it to where it's like, if you want to go hardcore ultralight, you can, but if you want to go a little bit heavier, a little bit larger profile, you can as well.
Dizzle, did you spill a drink? Is that what I'm gathering here that I missed?
I did, yeah.
Butterfinger Dizzle.
I know. I did have a question though. So what kind of bodies of water are you fishing primarily? Is it mostly like creeks, small ponds? What are you normally targeting, or what kind of bodies are you using your type of lures in, I should say?
So the wonderful thing about being around for the last couple of years is that these have been fished way beyond just the waters I fish. So they've been fished internationally, Australia, Belgium,
Cool.
Sweden, all sorts of stuff. Cool, right? But so people have used them in saltwater, in creeks, everything in between. Me personally, I fish a lot of like small inland lakes. So like, Michigan, if you look at Michigan on a map, you're going to see just tons of little blue dots, and it's just a lot of smaller lakes, and they can get pretty deep, pretty clear, and they have a lot of vegetation. So I'm fishing these plastics anywhere from 6 inches of water all the way down to 25, 30 foot of water, and I'm fishing for numerous species of fish. I've also fished them, obviously in creeks. I mean, creeks, these are creeks.
Oh yeah.
These are wonderful for creek fishing, we'll say.
Yeah.
I tend to fish mostly lake fishing around vegetation for panfish.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was like when I first started seeing these, and Debo had the page pulled up and everything, and I'm like, the entire time I'm just thinking, oh man, that would just be grab a super light line or a super light combo and just walk the creek banks and just look for those deep holes and just slam fish. Yeah.
That's about as fun gets too. Like that is.
Oh yeah.
I live for
like
that.
You're like, oh wow, I caught this 2-ounce fish, but it doesn't matter because it felt like a monster because you're using a super ultralight like 4-foot rod or something stupid like that,
Yeah, I love wading and getting in the creek and just like
I
wish I had here in Michigan, we don't have a lot of like warm water creeks that have like your big green sunfish and type stuff. And like back in Kansas and some of the parts of the Midwest, like you get those warm water, a little bit dirtier water, but you got these big sunfish, and it's like, and I would kill for more of that because that is so much fun. If you don't do it, you got to do it.
Yeah, the craziest things about creeks is you can just run into literally anything in them also. Like you could just be, oh, I'm just gonna catch bluegills or maybe some small crappies or something like that, and then out of left field, boom, there's like a 3-pound bass that hits your lure,
The funny thing about the green sunfish too is, so that I've got one in a tank. I don't know if you've seen any of my stuff on Old Fudge Stripe. We actually went out, my daughter and I, both of my daughters and I went out and caught green sunfish. I've got a 45-gallon tank, but like we have them around here. I've had them hit, topwater poppers. The off chance that I fish a drop shot or a Ned rig, they'll eat those. Like they have bigger mouths than a bluegill. So they're just ferocious, man. So I can only imagine, if I had like my little ultralight, my trout set up, catching some of those green sunfish, because sometimes you'll get them and you're like, oh, is this a decent bass? And you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. Oh, no, it's just a big green sunfish.
Exactly.
Let's see. Okay, so that was my questions on that. Apparently, Dizzle has not cleaned up the drink, and people say the ants are going to be in your house taking those up. So, wading small creek. Yeah, I don't do that enough. We've got a few creeks around here. I'm just not as familiar with them. I know we've got a couple, and I've never owned a pair of waders. And I also
you don't need waders.
Yeah, but you're going to say, oh, get like a pair of river shoes and go walking. I cannot stand wet feet in shoes. Drives me bonkers. Hate it.
So then take a second pair of shoes with you to change.
Yeah, I'll just get waders or something. I hate
Crocs.
Wet feet.
Get some Crocs and wear socks with them.
Crocs are dumb. I don't care. Anybody that wears Crocs, I think they're dumb. So sorry if you do.
It's also harder in certain parts of the country too. Like I don't know what I was like, but back in Kansas, it was so hard to be able to go anywhere because it's all farmland. So you end up like, you can't, you'll like trespass. I mean, you just can't do it. You can't access because there's no way of getting to so much of the water. And I would bet that Kansas has some just insane fishing that people have no idea exists, except for that local farmer that's just like, yeah, I fish it once a year because I'm busy doing my job feeding America. But every now and again, I'll go fish it and I catch a 6-pound bass out of like a puddle. Those are the things I think of when I'm trying to go to bed. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, we've got some around here, especially like in northeast. Let's see, that way would be east, opposite for you guys, northeast. We have krauts. I was going to say trout streams that come out as kraut.
Germans. There's tons of Germans up there.
Yes, we have trout streams that never freeze. So it's awesome because you can go up there and trout fish or there's other stuff that live in there as well. But my buddy Brady took me up there, showed me that stuff. I didn't even know they ever like existed. But yeah, like you're saying, a lot of it, I'm like, are we trespassing here? It's like, no, I don't know if it's like what they call like protected streams or, but yeah, it's going through like some farmers' land and stuff. And it's like, okay, if you're in like the stream or like on the bank or whatever, I don't know how all that works. It's weird, but yeah, exactly. I mean, you're like right in people's yards and stuff. I guess they're just okay with it, however that works. But
so like I used to go fishing for trout with my dad. Like I've told this story before. When the very first time I ever went trout fishing, it was with a fly rod, and he's like, you can't use anything else till you figure out a fly rod. And I was like, okay. But we would go to places where you would just pull up on the side of the road, hop out of the truck, go down the ditch, and the Iowa DNR, Department of Natural Resources, built these little like A-frame ladders that would go up over the farmer's fence. The farmer's got a fence to keep his cows in. They built all these little ladders that you would just walk up and over like it's normal. Everybody does this, and walk past the cows, watch out for the patties on the ground, and you would just go to the trout streams or go to the trout holes, wherever they might be. But yeah, that stuff is crazy. Just like, can I be here? Should I be here? Are we allowed to be here?
I'm going to leave this up. Ethan shared with me some of his donkey tails. I am going to part with the brown ones. I definitely don't like those as much as the tequila sunrise or whatever color you call the other ones. That is by far, hands down, my favorite color. I don't care what anybody says. But I'm going to leave this question to you because I'm going to throw a package of those in that I've still got. I forget what color they are, the brown and like orange ones.
Pasture fire, dude. That's my number one color personally.
Dude, I don't catch anything on brown and orange around here. Whether it's a jig, Michigan, whether it's plastics.
Maybe it's Michigan has a ton of sunfish, like just stupid amounts.
Dude, so do we.
Yeah,
and they look like cross too. Never.
I don't know. It's a confidence thing. Debo,
the tequila sunrise color that you came up with, though.
Yeah.
Which it's almost like a morning dawnish tequila sunrise. I
Yeah.
call it tequila sunrise.
It's
Just
called
because I don't like the
tequila
morning dawn.
sunrise because I have to put my spin on everything.
This color. It's
Yeah.
close enough to tequila sunrise that I just call it tequila sunrise because I don't like morning dawn because it reminds me of stupid drop shot fishing, which I'm not a fan of. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna leave this one to you because I'm gonna get a package ready. We had a couple people switch packages from the last giveaway. I just spent like $95, I think, on giveaway packages from last week's stream, which is crazy. But it's fun and I love it. That's why we do it. I don't do it for the money. I do it for the fun. So I'm going to switch off this, leave this question to you guys. Randy, you just stand there and look pretty like normal. We'll let Ethan answer this one. I have $250. What should I buy for rod and reel? Thinking a Dobbins and an Abu Garcia Revo S. Okay, so Ethan, take it.
Your Dobbins idea. I mean, if you're spending $250, the Dobbins, I freaking love this rod. Like this Dobbins trout and pan. So yeah, Dobbins Sierra trout and panfish. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I have the 6'2" model. It kind of depends on what you want to do. If you want a little bit longer rod, they've got a couple of longer ones as well. I like 6'2". I find that like something in the 6 foot range for ultralight fishing is just extremely versatile. You can do pretty much anything with it. But if you do, if you want to cast a little further, if you want to keep your line out of the water, maybe move some more line on the hook set, some of their longer models might be better for you. But as far as your Abu Garcia Revo S, I can't necessarily say whether I'd go with that reel or not because I actually haven't used that specific reel. I tend to be pretty big into Daiwa and Shimano personally. I've used other brands and I just haven't personally liked them as much. It's not to say that they're not as good. It's more just kind of a personal preference thing. So I guess if you feel comfortable with Abu Garcia, yeah, I think that's a great combo right there. And I don't think you can go wrong. But if you're open to other reel companies, I would definitely say anything Shimano or Daiwa in a size 1000 does a wonderful job from an ultralight perspective. The more you spend, the higher quality components you typically get. So it'll probably last you a little longer. It might have a little smoother drag, so on and so forth. But I've used their $30, $40 reels and they will last a long time and they do a fantastic job as well.
All right, I didn't hear any of that. It's like those commercials where it's a bunch of noise, and at the end of it, it's like, and that's all I have to say about that. I was on.
Sorry.
No, you don't be sorry at all. It's I wanted you to talk. So I did find this. Just talking about colors of lures real quick. You want to see the best color of trickworm ever made? If anybody still has a bunch of these gooseberry trickworm packs, you want to sell them, let a DEBO know. Best color trickworm ever made. It's like a black with a real deep purple. Oh, they look good. Okay, so I didn't mention it, but we're already at 259 people. Still been holding it like 250 pretty solid. And I didn't even mention we're going to do a giveaway. So I've got some kind of cool stuff from some interesting folks. We're going to get some more questions here answered by Ethan. So if you've got ultralight, super finesse stuff, I want to know what his favorite, and I'll kind of let you marinate on this one, Ethan. What is your favorite finesse technique for bass? So I'm not saying like ultralight, just like if you're going out, you're having a really tough day, what are you going to throw? So hold that. And you can't say donkey tail, none of that stuff. I'm talking about something that somebody would already have, like before Mule, like all this.
Okay? It's fine. Anyway, I won't sell.
No. I'm fine with you selling. This one is non-your stuff though. So this is a cool one. This is from Hutch Tackle. I don't know if they exist anymore. So it's riverwalleyes.com. They make a lot of walleye baits. I absolutely love this thing. On the back of a chatterbait, I used it last year. This is the bigger one. I couldn't find the other one. 5-inch, and it's jointed like a Zaco. So you see like a Gary Yamamoto Zaco, but it's got a curly tail on the end. I have never seen these anywhere. I don't know. We'll have to look real quick. Dizzle, can you check and see if www.riverwalleyes.com is still a thing? But anyway, this is a brown and chartreuse. So kind of like the old school pumpkin seed, like summer craw. Just a really cool package of stuff. I got these.
Hutch's Tackle.
Yep, Hutch right? Tackle. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
It's just riverwalleyes.com. No, Did you say
Oh,
the?
okay. Oh, nope. I think that's my dyslexia. I'm sorry. I am dyslexic. So riverwalleyes.com.
Yep. Still a thing.
Okay, cool. So, and then I also threw in, I'm not giving you any of the morning dawn, but I have these two that I have not thrown yet. So I'm going to share the wealth. We got the mule fishing in a color that I don't ever throw, a pasture fire, brown and orange. And then these I would throw, the Donkey Tail Juniors in the chartreuse. So I'm going to spread the love. I don't have any jig heads for it, so you'll have to order those if you do. I do have some old flu-flus that you could throw those little ones on. Oh, that's what I was going to ask about
Two
too.
giveaways, by the way. 2 giveaways.
Oh, you don't need to, dude. You don't need to.
No. This time I'll do a $50 credit to the Mule Fishing website. So it'll be as easy as a discount code.
Boom. Okay, perfect. So you can get your jig heads for the plastics and then whatever else you want. I've got some little craws. So we're kind of going with the finesse stuff. Okay, this one. I like Berkeley. I like Berkeley a lot. I didn't like the larger champ craws. They didn't fit for me. Now, Berkeley did come out with a 2.5-inch champ craw that I like a lot. This one didn't fit for the way I fish though. So I'm throwing those in. I've got some King Baits. I unboxed his stuff on Veggie not too long ago. You can go drop shot with this. You can go shaky head. It's like a clear with like a reddish tint to it and red sparkle. He did a really cool job on that. Let's see what else is in here. And while I'm going through this, I'll let you think about the next question too from Little Rich. I starred some questions for us. Tell us how to fish the really light jigs in the current or strong wind. Let's see. So just real quick, I've got some finesse jigs. Of course, the cool cats over at Super K Jigs. I've got some shaky heads, really just a mix of stuff. And of course, a couple DEBO'S stickers in there. That's what you're getting. Good box of stuff. We'll do a giveaway here in about 20 minutes. So, Ethan. Oh, where'd it go?
That's okay. I remember the question. Remember, there's 2 giveaways though, because
2 giveaways. Sorry,
I do mine. Little Rich. That's a good question. Honestly, it's pretty much impossible to throw the really light jigs in heavy wind, heavy current. And that's kind of why that's really why I innovated with the workhorse jig, which is a heavier version that still features a small hook, so you can still fit a workhorse jig with a micro style plastic and offer that in windy conditions. And then as far as current goes, kind of same thing. But what I would probably consider doing is, if you really want to get that micro jig down there, I mean, you might consider like a float rig and then add a couple, pieces of split shot to where it's going to get the jig down there, but you still keep that small profile. But generally speaking, right? Like, I mean, just the same with fishing. I mean, if you have heavy wind or heavy current or that sort of thing, you're not going to be throwing a 1/4 ounce jig. You're going to be throwing a 5/8 ounce jig. So, yeah, that's kind of a tough one.
Yeah, that is kind of I mean, even in regular fishing, if it's super windy and you're trying to go any, not ultra finesse, but just like regular finesse, that can always kind of be, it's that I don't even know what you call it. The sawhorse. What is it? What the hell is that thing called? Even your kids? Seesaw. The seesaw of heavy enough that I can use it, but not heavy enough that I'm going to get snagged all the time, with what you're using, or I don't know.
The 1/32 ounce mule jig is kind of like that's my do it all, I'll say. And that's definitely my fastest moving jig by far. And it's because it features a number 6 hook, so you can use it with any of my plastics. But at the same time, it's heavy enough to where it's like, even with a little bit of current or wind, you can still kind of do some stuff with it. So I would say no matter what, if you buy anything from my website, like that would be one jig to me I can't live without as an ultralight guy.
Yeah, Joshua, not only can you won't win, I'm not going to allow you to win. I'm giving Joshua a special present because he's won 75 times on my my channel. It's funny as hell.
Joshua is always tagging me on Instagram. He's like, I got to win this giveaway. I'm like, bro, it sounds like to me you don't need to win any more giveaways.
No, he might as well. He's going to win all those. He might as well enter every giveaway. The luck that guy has. Look, oh look, Joshua stopped hacking long enough to swing by DEBO'S stream. Yep, exactly. It's a running joke now. We love it. Joshua, the thing is though, you can't win unless you're in here supporting, and Joshua always is in here supporting. So that's why I'm hooking him up. And not only my channel, but other people's channels, all the different people. Matthew, gosh, Frank Doucette is in here. There's a ton of people that support all the different channels, which I absolutely love. Mike, Kyle, Kyle supporting us again. Jayhawks, he says.
I saw TJ jumped in a minute ago too.
Jim and the Hizzy.
Back to you guys.
Yeah.
And just because I feel like I've been talking so dang much, and I'm like, I'd prefer to hear from you, quite honestly. And I know that I'm featured on your thing, but either way,
do a live stream on yours and have us on. Then we'll talk.
That's true. I don't know how to live, I guess, but Randy, I'm kicking it off with you. If you could do any type of fishing that wasn't bass, like what would be the thing that you want to do? And same thing goes for you, Debo. You can think on it.
Is it a like I got to go out there and grind to catch the fish, or I just get put on the fish?
Well, I mean, you have to go out there and fish. It's not like
you're
going.
I mean, it's not like I'm not going out there blind though, just throwing a lure into a place hoping that kind of fish is going to bite, that because I know it's in the water, right?
You are going to a productive waterway that features the type of
See what I have to live with, Ethan? This is like anytime I ask Randy a question when we're fishing, it's literally like undoing a jigsaw puzzle just to pick.
Okay,
dude.
So
honestly, that's how I act at work. Like someone asks me a question, I'm like, but what about this? I get it.
Exactly. You got to question everything. Think outside the box. Hey, Debo, can you mute Debo real quick? I think my go-to would probably be either just like an amazing crappie session, like panfish session, or just going back to the last story I told, going fishing with my dad, like getting out there and trout fishing on a stream. Hopefully this time he would potentially allow me to use a non-fly rod, just because they're a pain in the ass with all the hangovers, overhangs and all that stuff. But yeah, actually, to think about it, I'm probably going to say trout fishing with him. That'd be awesome.
It's awesome.
I like that answer, Dizzle. I like that a lot.
Yep.
Me, and I know Dizzle's going to love this answer, that would be topwater pike fishing. And Dizzle gets to take off all of mine because, hold on, Dizzle, you know what I found the other day?
What? Oh, he gets up. Oh, he almost falls.
You get to pick off all the pike.
I hate pike. They're slimy and they stink and they're just gross.
Their first pull though is just like, God, they're just mean, man. They're just mean.
Yeah.
So this is a back in time Debo and Dizzle session where we had an amazing day topwater. Pike were blowing up on poppers or ploppers and frogs. And it got to the point where we were getting them in, and I had a plopper 110 with a big old pike, like 6-pound pike, sideways in its head. It ends up getting up to us and thrashes and breaks off because we didn't have any nets. And like trying to handle pike without steel leaders and nets is absolutely absurd. So I was like, dude, I had just been turkey hunting the weekend before. I'm like, I got some of my turkey gloves in there. I'm like, I bet we could use those and like get up under the gills and grab them. And it didn't work. And it ended up becoming a running joke of these. And I found these the other day, part of my old camo, my turkey gloves. I haven't turkey hunted in like probably 5 years. So that's had to have been 5 years ago that we did that. So there's the turkey gloves.
God, at least 5 years. Get the gloves. Get the gloves.
Oh, Dizzle, let me try these turkey gloves. I bet this will work. It didn't work. It was
They were horrible.
Yeah.
I think it made it even worse, didn't it?
I don't know.
They provided
I made them even slip through the gloves even worse.
Yeah, it didn't work whatsoever. Now I embrace it and I just get the pike slime all over me. And after I catch one, it's like in the movies when you see like the guy, the murderer who like puts the blood on him. He's like, oh. I catch a pike and I'm like, just smear it in my beard. I'm like, Dizzle, smell my beard.
You know, the best beard oil is pike. It's pike slime.
Dude, pike slime. That's what I use now. I bottle the pike. Yeah. That's why my beard looks so good.
And yeah, and
Excellent.
it attracts the ladies too. You know, I'm
Yeah.
a married man, but you know,
My wife loves it. I come home, she's
night
like,
slime, baby.
"Oh, she's like, you caught fish today. That's my man. You smell like fish." I'm like, "That's
And
right, baby."
Debo's like, nope, I just used the beard balm.
Nope. Just the pike oil. Okay, so Ethan, I'm going to ask you a question now. Dizzle, you got to have a question ready. Get your question for Ethan. Ready.
I got one out there already.
Oh, did you already ask it?
No, I have a question it was a this or that from a while back.
Did you save it? Did you pin it?
No, I can't pin anything.
You
I
can't
don't
star
think.
them? Do you have the star on your comments?
No.
Star?
Yeah, I do. How
Click
do I
that,
star
and
a comment?
Click the star and it should go on our starred portal thing here. Stockade.
I'll work on it.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyway.
I see it now. Yeah.
Okay, star it. See if it works. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So besides finesse fishing, besides a mule, like anything, we're going back to old school. What would be your favorite finesse setup if you're bass fishing?
Oh, Ned rig. I mean, it's. I know
Love it.
You're probably not Ned rig as your number one, but for me,
I love Ned rigging. I love Ned rigs.
Good.
As long as you don't say drop shot, I was actually going to remove you from the stream. I think I'd rather have Randy cut off each one of my fingers than have to fish a drop shot most days. So
I like drop shot when it's like the right conditions for it, but I don't. I had the pleasure of fishing them in Georgia in a deep, clear mountain lake, and it was pretty freaking fun. But yeah, like I would much rather Ned rig. And you know, you might not know this, but because I'm from Kansas, I had the pleasure of getting exposed to the Ned rig many, many years ago. And Ned Cady, I had the chance to fish with him. And
no crap.
Yeah, I actually fished with him before the Finesse TRD was launched. It was actually a prototype, and he let me fish with one of his prototypes, and it was pretty sweet. So either way, like I've been on his like email list, and it's called like the Finesse News Network. He's always called it the Midwest Finesse Rig, but then it got known as the Ned Rig because everybody's like, hey, this guy freaking made this thing happen. And so we have the Ned Rig.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't even meant to be fished the way that we fish the Ned rig. It's not like a bottom hop bait. Like that's not at all how you even like. And I'm sure he probably talked to you about that. That's nothing even close to the way you fished. Like if you're a Midwest guy, not even close to the way you fish them in a quote unquote Midwest finesse jig. But for us, you know, now kind of what it's adapted to, it works so good at it. Not even what it was intended, you know.
Well, and it's funny. I mean, like it was definitely like it was a bottom bait. Like it was. I guess I should say it was a couple of things. It was a bottom bait, but it was also other things.
Yes.
It also was anywhere from like sometimes Ned would throw 1/32 ounce jigs all the way up to 3 32nd ounce jigs. But you know what? How many people throw a Ned rig now? They're all throwing 1/8. They're throwing a quarter, and it's like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it works. But it's not really the same tech because it's just totally different underwater. I think the other thing is like, you know, Ned wasn't fishing it in parts of Michigan where you've got smallies 30 feet deep with wind and chop on the water. So it's not necessarily, you know, of course they're going to adapt it that way. But yeah, I'm still old school. And that's kind of why Mule, it's like I have the Mule jig in the 1/16 and the 3/32, and they feature a size or hook, you know, a tiny hook because of a lot of my background.
I like it. And yeah, there's a lot of people talking about the drop shot. It fits. Gramps put it the best for me. I don't even, there it is. Gramps put it the best for me. So there are spots around here where people will talk about, you know, smaller lakes, ponds usually, you know, they don't have the moving water. They don't have the, you know, the system of movement through it. So you get a lot of those like algae, like I'm not even talking like vegetation. I'm talking like slimy, gross bottom where you throw a jig in and it's just, you're dragging in gunk.
Disgusting,
the drop shot. Yeah. The drop shot is an excellent way to tackle that. Usually I'll go with like a weightless, you know, stick bait or something where it can essentially sit on top of that before you really get into it. But yeah, Gramps brings up a good point. That was one of my fall days. I was throwing the drop shot because of that reason. Fish didn't want anything moving quick. I couldn't throw a jig or a Ned rig on the bottom, even an EWG Ned rig, which I absolutely love. but you would just get gunked up. So, you know,
But
you're
that's
hitting that.
I'm glad you brought that up. So like when there's like bottom vegetation and it's either it's slimy or whatever it may be, one thing that I don't think a lot of bass fishermen think to do, just because it's kind of outside of the comfort zone, is really downsize their weight. Like I'm talking lighter, lighter, lighter. So if you're throwing your 1/8 ounce Ned rig, throw a 16th. And the reason is because it has a much slower rate of fall. And it also, the funny thing is like people think, oh, I need weedless. Like you don't necessarily need weedless. That 1/16th, once it hits that vegetation, it's going to kind of hit it and sit.
Sit
The
on it.
1/8 is going to go like this. Like
Yep.
that lighter profile, it rests on top. It doesn't bog down. So you can twitch it out and you're not getting vegetation all over your hook. You're twitching it out and it's still available to eat. That 1/8, you try to twitch it out, you've got grass all over your hook and nothing wants to eat it. So people don't think to downsize their weight on the vegetation on the bottom, but do that. Trust me, like the Ned rig, I throw a 1/16 almost exclusively, and I fish around a ton of weeds. And I think people always think like, well, why aren't you throwing like a weedless head? It's like, I don't need a weedless head. You just have to modify the way you hold your rod and also kind of like that upward twitch a little bit. Once you start feeling it into those weeds, just kind of twitch it a little bit, shake it, and the grass won't get all over it. So anyways.
Yep. No, that's a great point. And that's going back to, gosh, I don't even remember. It was a lake that I fish now with my John boat, but that was even before I had my John boat. So probably 7 years ago, I was walking the bank with my, my knee boots, and I was throwing like a little 1/16 ounce shaky head and a whole bunch of grass, like thick grass lines. And I would just barely kind of get it through those spots, and it would just hang in it. It wasn't heavy enough to get down through it. It was light enough to where the grass would sink down, a couple feet under it. It was light enough that it would just kind of sit on it. And then any open spots, it would kind of come in. And that's it. I mean, that was all I fished that day, was a little 1/16 ounce shaky head with the trick worm now maybe it was the shaky head, or maybe it was the worm color. I don't even know what I did with that. Anyway, I showed it before, secret worm color.
Your gooseberry.
Don't talk about it. Shh, I can only show it once. One mention per stream. Unless anybody has any of those gooseberries, then hit me up. I'll
Randy's face. He's like, that's
yeah. Ethan brings up an absolute perfect point on that. Either trying to keep it above that grass, light enough that it won't fall down into the grass, or a way that you can work kind of snake through it. Because the problem is, when you're, and I'm talking strictly mostly bank fishing, in a boat, you can position yourself to parallel to it. So if my body here, I guess it'd be this side. If my body here is the grass line, I can, parallel to it and not really get into it, fish those edges. That didn't really work, did it? That didn't make any sense.
No.
But from the bank, you're casting out into the grass. And if you sink down into it and try to bring it back up to you through that grass, it's just a hell of a time trying to get through it. So. Okay, I have one more. Were you able to star that comment, Randy, or no?
No, I got back to, I responded to the question in chat, but I couldn't get back to it because it was too long ago.
What's your question now? So I said you had to get one ready for Ethan.
It was, well, I mean, this is more of a, I guess, for anybody, but it was a this or that from Chris Russ. It was quite a while ago now, but it was a this or that on the topic, and you may have seen responses to it. Crocs or Hey Dudes for fishing shoes?
Dude. Okay, I'm gonna go first. I'm jumping in. So my mom got me a pair. I brought them up on a live stream. I was gonna get those black and gold Hawkeye color looking Hey Dudes. Michelle, my wife, heard it, told my mom about it. My mom got it for me for Christmas. Far and away my favorite pair of shoes, because I hate going barefoot, and I like slippers, but I don't like the soft slippers. Dude, I'm on the Hey Dude train. I don't care what you say. For wearing around the house and if I need to go out to the truck, freaking love them. Crocs, though, I disagree with all this. Hey, Shan the man's in here. What's up, Shan?
Hey.
Look at that slaunch. He's a good dude. Shan, we'll need to get you on again. Let me know when you're free. We haven't had Shan on in a minute. Okay, so anyway, I stepped in there. I'm sorry. I stole the limelight.
You're fine.
Randy, what's your... I want to hear yours.
I actually am wearing Hey Dudes right now. They originally started out as just wear them outside shoe, but they've eventually turned into, I have a pair for inside, like house shoe type of wear.
Hmm.
And then I have a separate pair for like my out and about pair, getting all fancy. But my biggest thing is you got to find a good, like, I don't want to wear them without socks. I think that's just gross because it's just gross. So you got to get a good pair of no-show socks, Debo. Just FYI, if you ever go down that route.
Oh, I don't care. I wear.
Yeah, I
Mid-
know you do.
I would wear my
Look
mid
at-
socks with it. I wouldn't care.
It drives me insane.
Yes.
Debo walks
Show it.
around in shorts with socks like that on. It can't stand it. But I
used
I've
to be able
never
to
had a
put my
pair of
legs
Crocs.
behind my head. Fun fact.
Don't do that.
Can't anymore.
Never-
Too old and fat now.
Never ever had a
Oh,
pair of Crocs, so I can't say whether or not I like those or not. So
So
I'm
that's
going, hey,
okay.
dude.
Also a fun fact. That's why I hate wearing sandals. Like when you get the hot, moist, mushy feel of like sandals in your feet, dude, I freaking hate it. Absolutely hate it. So Ethan, anyway, how about you? Hey dudes or Crocs?
I've never owned a pair of either.
I like that.
Was this for fishing or was this just in general?
Well, Gramps actually came back with what I have dubbed the comment of the year. He said something to the effect of, "Hey dudes are the
Beer.
God, what was it?" Or wait, no, he said that Crocs
Beer.
are the fishing shoe of, or the shoe of fishing. God, I lost it.
So
Wait, Crocs are the wait, Debo. Crocs are the biscuits and gravy of fishing shoes, is what Gramps said.
That's a Gramps. That's a strong statement, my friend.
I mean, I could see that because they have all the holes in them where you could let the water out, especially if you're walking a creek or something. I think they would be amazing like creek shoe because you can get wet and you're not going to be like overly annoyed with like a fabric wet because they're like that weird plastic stuff. But yeah, I've never tried them. I've wanted to. I just haven't pulled the trigger because okay, so number one is I don't want to get that tan in the summer. I don't want to have tan holes all over my feet in the summertime. It's just going to look weird.
Oh, but you'll do it with your hat. This is coming from the guy that will get done fishing all day because he's still in the backward hat club and go, "Hey, Debo, man, when are we going to," and I'm looking at him and he's got a sunburn hole here from his
the hole,
hat.
the perfect, yeah. God, leave me alone, man.
I'm kidding. I'm going to be you for the night. I'm going to go.
Bully.
So I will answer the question. Sorry. If it was for fishing exclusively, I'd probably go Crocs because I think they'd be more functional for my style of fishing. But if it was just for like standard wear around, I would go Hey Dudes. Sorry, I have to make everything complicated.
I like it.
No,
You and Randy get along well.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I
3
appreciate
different
100%.
answers to one question.
I will also say that if I had ultimately a choice, I'd probably just wear flip-flops. But those are not conducive to go fishing in. I remember there was a summer where they're like the reefs. So reef flip-flops are a little bit more sturdy. They're a harder plastic.
Don't they have the bottle?
They do the bottle opener on the bottom of the shoe.
Did you
Who the
say
hell
more
would
sturdy?
ever-
More
I love
sturdy.
taking that first swig of my beer and having like the taste of dog poop on it. It's so good.
Yeah, right. They are more sturdy.
Hold on, Randy. You just said I needed some more sturdy flip-flops. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, because it's
what would be a good idea instead of wearing more sturdy flip-flops?
Shoes.
These would be good. These would probably work.
No, we need to start a brand called Man Flops, and they're just totally
no, Debo,
like
these will be good.
extra tough.
Yeah, and
Okay,
they come in clamshells, and they have a free tarantula inside.
Okay, so the reefs they're a harder plastic. They actually have an air bubble in them, like the Nikes do. Also, a clear air chute, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but I went to go transition from the dock, and it was like watery, so it was pretty wet right there because the water was actually up. Strange enough, it's not super low at that time. And I go to like do a little hop, skip, and a jump over to the dry land, and I short it, and I step in the water, and my foot slides out of the flip flop, and I scrape my toes all up on the concrete. So I'm like, awesome. I should have just worn shoes at this point in time, because now I got bloody toes all up in this nasty, scummy pond water. Probably going to get dysentery or something. I didn't. Spoiler
That's
alert,
good.
I
I'm
didn't.
glad you didn't. You can now get back on the Oregon Trail. Okay, back to topics here. My goodness, we have spun out of control.
Hey, you asked me, dude. You asked.
Well, yeah, you gave me the answer. Ephraim said, Ethan, what's your favorite way to rig the mule minnow? Rod, reel, etc. So if you're gonna go out with a mule manor on an escapade, what are you rigging up on?
So I'd say, like, in general, because I fish 1,000 different ultralights. In general, I would go with like a mule minnow 2.2 on a 1/32 ounce mule jig. If we're going as specific as possible, I'd go 6-pound Finesse braid to a 4-pound trilene sensation leader, and I would run it on a 6-foot ultralight fast action size 1000 spinning reel. I'm not going to get specific here, and we can obviously go more specific later if you'd like, but that will do a lot of things. You can kind of twitch that and drift that around weed beds. You can skip that under docks. You can shoot that under docks. You can fish that, 10, 15 feet deep, or you can fish it up in 1 to 3 foot of water. So that would be kind of my versatility rig right there.
I like it. Let's see. There's another question up here. It skipped. I don't know why it skips down. I don't even know where it went. Now we're back into the whole footwear discussion. Let's see. We're at an hour. Let me get the drawing started here real quick. Randy, did you see any good questions? Or Ethan, did you see any good questions on any of this stuff?
Oh, man.
Going through. I hate it when I don't know why it does like the skip ahead crap.
Yeah, I don't know how it does that, and I hate the fact that I can't go all the way back too. That really kind of bums me out.
Kyle, we actually hit that one. Did Ethan, did you say yours? So Randy Trout, me Pike.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Because you guys kept it like domestic and, like more of like a realistic thing, I'm going to do the same. I saw a bunch of comments around bowfin, and that made me say, I'm going bowfin. I'm going to fish for bowfin hard for 8 hours, hopefully catch 3 or 4 of them at least. And I'll catch them on anything, heavy rod or whatever. It doesn't matter. Those fish are so cool.
Yeah, a close second for me, honestly, would be snakehead. I would love to do topwater snakehead Kuda already got it. Kuda, you old dog, you.
So our
Nick
snakehead, God, what is it? Is it snakehead that are like actual species that should be there, and then the bowfin aren't, or is that vice versa? Like in Florida,
bowfin are native. Snakehead are from Asia.
Gotcha.
Yeah, snakehead are bad. I think in a lot of places you're supposed to like throw them on the bank or try to kill them or something. They used to be. I don't know if
they'll live for like 4 days.
Yeah, they can move. Yeah, I don't know. Kill them or something. I don't. It's like Asian carp. Asian carp around here. You're supposed to get rid of them.
Well, I did read in the handbook for Nebraska fishing that you like if you catch an Asian
he hasn't
carp,
moved to Nebraska, but he does have a Nebraska handbook for fishing now. That pretty much means you've moved there.
I'm fishing in a state and I don't want to break the law and get fined for it. Anywho, so if you catch one, or like say one jumps into your boat or whatever it does, does their wonky thing, like you literally will get fined if you put it back in the water. You have to dispatch it and get rid of it because they're so invasive out here. So invasive across the United States. They're horrible.
Yeah, Asian carp are not a good thing.
And they fly and jump and hit you in the face.
They've got legs.
So hashtag mule. I'm going to be doing my giveaway. So Ethan, do you want to do the same winner? Do we want to do like a mega mule giveaway or 2?
I mean, I like that idea, but given the amount of people in here, I would like to just do 2 personally. That way 2 people can win.
Well, then you know what? I will have to. I don't have any jig heads for it. Okay, well, if you win mine, you'll have to go out and help support Ethan. Go buy some jig heads from him because I put the plastics in. You can use them other ways, like you said, but
you can drop shot it. You can fish it on your standard Ned rig head if you've got others. It's okay.
Yeah, I was just saying if you want to run that rig, you'll have to go support Ethan.
Did
But
Hella just got in here? Looks like
Hella in the hizzy. What is up, Rich, my friend? What is this? Quit doing that. Quit entering. Mac in the house. Mac, I haven't seen you for a minute, man. How are you? He's the king of this or that.
I only did it because Hella did it. Don't look at the timeline. He didn't do it after me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Let's see. Let's get some rapid fire questions. So while you're entering #Mule, there's going to be 2 separate giveaways. So I've got a bag of stuff, a whole bunch of Finesse stuff that I put together. It's probably, I don't know, $70 worth of good stuff in there. Ethan's also doing a $50 gift card to his giveaway, or not giveaway, promo code, whatever, to use for his site. So Mule Fishing that we were looking at before, all the cool Finesse stuff that he does and puts a lot of hard work in. So that's when he's like, sorry, I'm gonna talk about my business. No, sorry in that at all, man. I don't have people on to don't talk about their stuff. That's why I have you on, because it's cool and you've worked your butt off to do it. So I will support small business all the time. Absolutely. So while we're doing that, #Mule, if you want to be entered, maybe a couple minutes here, we'll do the first drawing, but do the this or that's. So I want to know some this or that questions for us. It's going to be rapid fire stuff. Mac is the king of them. I know he's going to have a couple for us here. He's just not chatty. Okay. Well, Mac, give us a good this or that. Everybody else, give us a few. And this isn't the Dizzle and Ethan hour of like picking apart the questions.
I'll take 30 minutes to analyze.
Yeah, you and Dizzle both will. We won't get any answer here. It's got to be rapid fire answers.
Ethan, what month were you born in?
March.
Late March or early March? I should
March
say.
19th. March 19th. Okay. Feel free to send me a card.
Because I was April 28th. So
Tyler in here?
I guess my personality, that type of person, likes to overanalyze things.
Tyler, another good cat. Hook sets are free. What's up, man? I have not talked to you.
Holy cow.
Okay, we got some coming. Okay, we're going to rapid fire a couple, and then we're going to get to doing the first giveaway here. Okay, so I'm going to switch over. #Mule, if you want to be entered. I'm going to switch screens here real quick. We're going to grab a couple of these. Okay, so this or that from Ephraim. Yeah. Fresh or saltwater fishing? I'll go first. I honestly don't have any urge at all to go saltwater fishing. Doesn't interest me, especially when you see old boy on the back of the boat that's like strapped in and it looks like he's fighting for his life for reeling a fish. That just doesn't look fun to me. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Fresh.
Call me a wuss, but
so there's no Debo, just FYI, there's no star next to the one I'm trying to what's it called, to pin. But from Josh, this or that at 8:49, forever use black or forever use white.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's very iffy for me on what bait I'm trying to mimic. I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna say that the river guys out there, especially around here, Mississippi cedar, white all the way. But that's an interesting one.
I'll disagree on that statement and say that they use a lot of black and blue, more or less. At least cedar up by where I'm at.
Okay.
But I would go black.
A white fluke or a white grub, like curly tail.
Also 100% agree. Yeah, that was my old school Finesse lure from the question a little bit back. Would have been like a twister tail white grub type of lure, but
yeah,
I'm going black on that one.
Okay.
Incredible this or that, because I went one way, then I went the other way, then I went my head went so many places. I'm going black because I think it's less polarizing. I think that white can be extremely easy for fish to turn away from in certain conditions, whereas black is a little more universal.
I like it. This or that, crappie or perch?
Crappie.
I think crappie are more fun.
I'm gonna be the odd guy out and say perch, especially when you get into like those big 10. What are you laughing at? Shut up, Raymond.
Hellabass's comment just a second ago.
I'm going perch. I know crappie are probably the popular answer, but there's something about
I think crappie tastes better too. So out of the fish that I would keep, if I'm going fishing for them specifically, I would keep crappie.
Yeah, maybe
They're
I
both
like
good.
fish. Yeah, dude, maybe I like fish too much, but if you clean a bluegill, a perch, and a crappie, for me, it's really hard to tell the difference. They all
Yeah.
just taste fresh and good.
They're all
Like shape. That's the only way I can tell half the time is the shape of the fillets. Like the perch is that long fillet. Crappie will have like the, you know, the kind of upside down Michigan looking fillet look to it.
Yeah.
That's really the only way I can tell. If they're cut up in like little bite-sized pieces, I don't know. Okay, frogs are flipping.
Where was it?
Mr. Nukes. Y'all already know my answer. I would die frog fishing if I could and go to frog fishing heaven and only frog fish for the rest of my life.
Yeah. No, I'm sure everybody knows my answer too. I'm flipping a jig.
I'm flipping too, man. I love a topwater blow up, but dude, the way that thump and that's so fun. Flipping.
Again,
That
we
jig-
have another Randy date.
And you just
Most of the people we have on here seem
Pretty
to
much
jive more
everybody.
with Randy, than I.
pretty much everyone. God,
If you ever actually made a video and did lives and stuff, you would probably take over DEBO'S fishing. People be like, "Hey, don't even watch DEBO." Okay, one more, then we'll draw my giveaway. This or that. Dizzle mends his nostrils, or DEBO gets his leg behind his head. How much you guys gonna give me if I can still do it? I don't think I can anymore. I haven't tried it for years.
Good. I don't think I want to see that.
Oh yeah, you do.
There's
you have to pay $10 to see it though.
That's on OnlyFans. It's on the DEBO fishing.
That's on the members only. You'll see that.
Where's that? Oh, the ones that. Never mind.
Okay. This will be the one to marinate on. I'm going to grab a winner here. So this or that, big swim bait or big worm. I'll let you think on this one. I'm going to jump over to giveaway. We'll draw my giveaway real quick. And I'm just going to do, you don't have to enter in again, guys and gals. I'm just going to do the draw again for Ethan's here in a second. So this is for mine. I am sharing, right? Yes, I am sharing. If it's Joshua, I swear to everything he's getting banned.
Was it just almost him?
No, I didn't see his avatar. Daniel. Let me write Daniel down. Okay. Oh, so I forgot to tell y'all, you have to be present to win.
No,
I did actually have a winner last live from Zimbabwe. Not a joke. Yeah. He's gonna be getting a gift card. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I got it. He's like, I'm in Zimbabwe. Is that a problem? I'm like, no, not at all. Behind the scenes, I'm like,
Dan, he's here. 854, he's here. DEBO'S gonna put up his email address. Send him an email with your little avatar thing.
Thank you, Randall,
to make sure that he knows that you are who you are. Because people like Hella and Gramps, people like that try to jump in there and claim prizes when they are not the winners. They cover it, DEBO? Randall Pink Floyd, yeah, and all he had to do was send him $10,000, and then DEBO actually got $10 million back.
Are we talking about the scam? Yeah. So the other thing is, if anybody ever, if you're looking at any of my videos, apparently they've gotten wiser to the scamming out there, these scumbags. So I used to be able to go onto the comments and block them, and it would take all their comments away. Now I can't even see their comments, so I can see that they commented. So like if I go to I'll go to a recent video and it will have replies on every single one. I'll click on the reply and I can't see it. It's somehow blocked. I don't know how they're doing this.
Is it the text thing?
Yeah, it's the what do they call it? Telegram?
Text Telegram number. Yeah,
I had someone literally do it too. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I've had people saying they checked into it. I'm like, I will never tell you to Telegram me, or I don't even know what the hell Telegram is.
Why would I create a second profile to text me?
It's not even they use my avatar, and it'll be like DEBO'S fishing at like Telegram or some stupid crap. Yeah, anybody listening, don't fall for that stuff. These scumbags need to get a life and put the work that they're doing into this stuff into a real job. So it pisses me off. But
it's all computer generated somehow.
Yeah, I don't. Either way, upsets me. So we'll do another giveaway here in a second. This will be Ethan's, and if we still have close to 300, maybe I'll do like a special one. I've got some extra stuff sitting around here because I appreciate the people jumping on to support us, to support Ethan, Mule Fishing, Dizzle, his cherry Coke beard sticky spray that he spilled all over. Okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I just checked my phone for the first time all night. K-State beat Baylor in overtime. Basketball. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Dang. Iowa had a good comeback the other night too. That's always fun. K-State, huh? But you're in Michigan now, right?
Yeah, but my whole family went to Kansas State.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I grew up right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I think you're in Michigan now, though, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. As an adult.
I like it. Supporting the roots. Okay, so let's jump back into a few of these this or that's before we do Ethan's giveaway. Rock bass or yeller perch?
We missed it. So I'm going to answer the last one first. We did it was a
sorry.
big swim bait or big worm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do big swim bait only because I live in Michigan and I feel like you can catch big pike or bass on it. And a big worm is just going to become tooth problems for a pike. So I'll go big swim bait.
See, I'm going big worm just because I haven't caught anything on a big swim bait.
That's fair.
There's no confidence in it for me. As far as like a big fish, I've caught more fish of better size with a worm than a swim bait. I mean, Debo hit it earlier, that confidence in color, brand, whatever it may be. That's kind of what I'm going with.
Same. I've caught tons of fish, dinks, big fish, doesn't matter on a big worm. I can count on one hand how many big swim bait fish I've caught. Literally.
You too. Can I give you just like a color that is my freaking, I love it for dirty water on a big worm. And I think actually, Debo, you might have made a video on this, believe it or not. That electric or sapphire blue in dirty water. Oh, I have caught so many big bass.
Blueberry
tail worm. I love that color.
No, blueberry is that's not the electric blue. Yeah, electric blue.
Bright blue with like the.
I know what you're talking about. It's this. It's that sapphire blue.
Well, yeah, and I don't remember what brand it was, but I caught numerous 4, 5, and even 6 pound bass on a 10-inch worm in that color. Yes, that type of color right there. Muddy water, just stupid. I don't understand why. Like, why do they like blue?
It's really weird because what would fall in the water that would ever look like something like that? Besides, I mean, like a crawfish or something like that are blue, at least around here. But overall, it's like, what would be blue? What would be?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a curiosity thing, but I've caught. I mean, it was a consistent thing. I've been in numerous muddy water lakes and rivers, and
blue keeps its color farther down too than other colors. Like other colors will lose their color as you go deeper.
Oh yeah.
Blue and gosh, what's the one that goes the farthest? It might be blue.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I can't remember on the color chart the way they look at it. But I've also heard that the way fish see, blue looks like a brown hue to them. So hell if I know. I don't. I'm just a big dummy with a beard. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get rid of the other this or that. But.
Oh, there's no. So we talked about Crocs versus Randy's dog poop sandals with the bottle opener for 10 minutes. So don't be worried about that. Here's an interesting one. Have you messed at all with bait fuel? Bait fuel or nothing?
Cox juice.
Oh, Randy. Now we're going to go off on that tangent. So the thing about bait fuel, I've used it. I don't believe in it. And I also noticed that they talk about how it's super clear. You can't, it has no smell to it. But I've noticed when other people have posted pictures and mine, it's turned like this weird yellow color since I've had it for some time. So I'm not sure about that. If you're a bait fuel user, has your bait fuel turned from clear to some weird yellow hue?
Randy peed in yours. Sorry.
Randy probably did pee in mine. I would not put that past him. He's getting back for the day when I went to put a whole thing of Spike It in his backpack. We were
oh my God. You didn't even do that. I went to hand it to you because you didn't have any Spike It, and you were like, "Here, give it to me." And I'm like, dude, the lid is not even on there. And
who hands somebody a thing of Spike It without the lid tightly secured?
When I said, dude, the lid is not on there.
That's like sticking your finger in a fire and being like, it burnt me. Well, yeah, dummy. Don't hand me Spike It with the lid not on.
I think bait fuel is, I've never used it, so I can't necessarily say, but I guess what bothers me about it is the fact that it
Ooh.
was so hyped up before it was ever
They
available,
put a ton into
that
marketing.
I feel like it's more of a marketing thing, and it's not necessarily a proven thing by anglers. What is been proven and what I've actually really enjoyed is this Procure. Been around a long time, and I've
Hmm.
been starting to use it a lot over the last year and a half. My friend Ramon has sent this to me, and
Ramon Outdoors.
yeah, Ramon Outdoors. He's a good guy, and he sent it to me, and I've used it, and I really like it, and it seems to
Hmm.
make a difference. And in the video I was talking about, like January 2nd, I was catching fish. I put some of this on. I felt like all of a sudden my catch rate went up a little bit, and my size got bigger with pumpkin seed. And I don't know if it was directly attributed to this or
Hmm.
not, but I'm a believer.
Was it just, I'm sorry, I missed. Was it just scent or was it color and scent or was it just color? What was it?
So I was using the same thing. I was catching good fish, but the time it took between bites was pretty, 5,
Sure.
6 minutes. And then all of a sudden I put that on and I felt like my catch rate started picking up a little bit. And I caught some really good pumpkin seed after putting it on. So again, it's like, I don't know. It's Procure.
Okay.
This company's been around forever. Like they're a pretty established company. I think they're out of like the Pac Northwest or something. Smaller company.
Yeah, see,
They've
that's
got
when
about
it
1,000
gets
since. I don't know.
it kind of jumps in my head and I'm like, oh man, is that because I moved down the bank and I had a better angle,
Yeah.
or were the fish just over here versus over there? And I don't know. I'm this or that, especially with smell. I could take it or leave it, but like the color for me is what the bigger thing is. If it gives it a little bit of color, that's more useful. And if there's scent on it, okay, maybe that's going to help out a little bit just because,
I
you
agree
know,
with that. The only thing I'll say is like, okay, so you're coming at it more so from a bass fishing standpoint. So
sure.
I agree because bass fishing, you probably have a slower catch rate than a lot of panfish because
Hmm.
of the way they are. They have lower populations, they're larger, so on and so forth. But at the same time, um, with the panfish, you've got like larger schools of fish. I had a ton of fish around me. I fished the same spot, same color and everything, and I added that scent and it felt like things changed. And I was not in a new area. So I don't know. It's happened a couple times now to where it's like I feel like that's the case, but you're totally right. Like I feel the same way. It's like, is it actually helping me? Is it not? I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea. So
Yeah. Debo, I tried starring in and it didn't work because I'm trying to start it
Oh, that
and
sucks.
in the YouTube chat versus StreamYard, but it was from Duncan M at 901. Ice fishing or fishing in 100 plus. So I'm assuming 100 plus temps.
100
Hmm.
plus.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a rainy, and that depends on the bite and where I'm at, what I'm doing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just it's a simple question. Just
I
answer it.
know.
Either
I
or.
know.
Come on.
If it's
I'm going
100
100
plus,
plus.
but I've got a good backwater pocket with pike and bass hitting topwater, I'm for it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I don't
would go
know.
100 plus because
I don't
there's
mind
just
ice
days
fishing
like
now
I don't mind it either. I actually
with
like
a
ice
hut
fishing,
and a
but
heater.
yeah, a hut and a heater and 58 layers of stuff on. I always feel like it's easy enough to cool down on stuff like with your body temperature, but it's like super hard to warm yourself back up. Like Diva, the day we went to
I've noticed this
remember
that
Matt,
Randy's always
me and
asking,
you?
"Hey, can I come over in your hut and cuddle?" I'm like, "No, why do you keep asking that,
I have my
weirdo?"
own hut.
Available
I
on
got
DEBO'S
shut
only.
up.
Yeah,
Dude,
members only.
the day that we went with Matt to the Snake Lake, that was I
17
remember.
billion degrees.
Yeah, the air temp was like I think the temp in my truck in my black truck with black interior was
It was over 100, I
it's
think, and it
it
was
was
like
yeah well over 100, not including like
wasn't even that
humidity
time of
or
year yet.
anything.
It was a crazy heat
Yeah,
wave.
it was redunculous.
Okay, let's do a couple this or that's, and then do our second giveaway here. Gators, Ethan, what size weight do you use for a micro Carolina rig? Do you do that at all? Also, could be known as
Honestly,
a modified split shot or mojo rig, which I think is really underutilized. I'm gonna have to do a video on that.
honestly, that's been on my to-do list is start to do a little bit more of like the the micro split shot rig, and I haven't really done it. So I gotta say, Gators, I can't give you an answer here because I haven't done it, and I'm not going to be the type of person that answers something confidently without experience. So I need to get out there and try it. I'll open it up the other two.
I'm going to toot my own horn here. And cool thing that Monster Bass did was it allowed us, a few of us, to work with missile baits and do our own color. That's the freaking DEBO'S surprise, baby. I didn't plan that. I just grabbed it because it was the missile baits. But like a little beaver like this or a little craw, anything on. So instead of like putting together a whole Carolina rig, if you do what used to be called the Mojo rig, it was big for a while. I just do like the poor man's Mojo rig, which is like a Texas rig, little worm weight, like a little quarter ounce or 3/16 with a bobber stop in front of it and behind it. So you've got your weight here falls down. It's like a little finesse, like I said, poor man's Carolina rig without, you know, the swivel and clacker and all that, and just letting it flow back here. So when you bounce that weight, this is still floating back here, you know, with its own deal, and you've got the weight up here. So maybe I'll do a video on that, but yeah, good point.
Yeah, I got another one.
Okay.
It just popped in from Josh at 9:08.
I'm like 10 minutes behind on comments. I'm still at
this or that,
8:51.
pre or post spawn?
Pre.
How post?
No, pre spawn, post spawn.
Post spawn.
Come on, pre.
Post spawn.
What?
Post spawn, absolutely, dude. The
you
post spawn
want-
feed, the shallow water bluegill post spawn feed, when they're absolutely murdering and destroying the bluegill that just picked on their beds forever. Dude, I've had it literally where bass will be shampooing out of the water into shallow water chasing fish. It's that
we were
aggressive.
getting along so well.
No, we've already proven that you're more of a Randizzle fan, and that's fine. This
Me
will be the
and
last
Randy.
live that I have.
Most people are.
You can join
Let's
Randizzle
go.
on his next live. You're not welcome back. I'll also send you a gift pack of Randy sandals and Crocs, by the way, too. Because I think that would fit your style.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
post spawn. Now, if we're talking like directly after post spawn, where there's like the week or 2 week lull where it's like junk fishing, I get that. But like, dude, if you get on a hot post spawn bite when those fish are just blasted and all they want to do is eat and kill bluegill,
I do love
bluegill spinnerbait. If y'all don't throw a bluegill spinnerbait post spawn gold blades, you're missing out. Anyway,
I kind of feel when I think of. Go ahead.
The bluegill beds bite is fun. I will give you that. I guess with pre-spawn is like if you hit it in that right pre-spawn bite, it's like you can catch them on a lot of things and they're all fat. So, you know, it's like I'm gonna get my best weights, you know.
Yep.
And I also think of when I think of pre-spawn and post-spawn, there's a very specific time frame. It's just not a terminology of from, you know, when the ice is out until they lay their eggs, and then after they lay their eggs through the rest of the season until ice comes back in. There's a very finite like time frame in which like those two can be defined. And I think just overall, Debo, like you had mentioned earlier, post spawn for me is always in my head that it's post spawn. These fish are just like beat up. They're tired. They just need a nap. The damn kids won't stop bugging them. You know, they just want to take a break and get themselves a second. So that's how it's kind of going through my head. Is post spawn is more of that really downtime where they're not wanting to do a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, I think pre-spawn is definitely the go-to answer, and I'm kind of playing. It's funny, I forget who that was. Might have been Chris. I am playing what I would normally call the devil's advocate, but I usually call it on this channel the DEBO'S advocate, because anything I say, Randy always answers the opposite way and goes, "Well, actually, I would if the clock strikes midnight and the fourth full moon of." Okay. All right. Anyway, let's do another giveaway. And then we're going to zap through a few more of these. Ethan, do you still have a few minutes?
Yeah.
I'm not holding you. If you need to jump off at any time, I know you got the
It's
kiddo.
a Saturday night. I'm feeling great.
Hey, all right. I love it, dude. I love it. Let's do this because I actually like the this or that's some of the most. Those are some of my favorite.
This is fun. Yeah,
questions to do.
This.
So okay, so nobody has to enter anymore. It's just hashtag Mule. I'm just going to do a draw again. That is sharing, right? Got a little bit of lag. There we go. Okay. And the next winner, so this will be for the $50 Ethan gift card giveaway thing. I don't know how he's going to do it. Oh, Mark, is that a pit dog? Can't really tell. Or is that a beagle mix?
No, it's like a beagle. It looks like.
Looks like a beagle pit mix. I don't know. Either way, I love the pit dogs.
Mark, if you're in here,
yes,
please
Mark.
make it known.
Are you still here, Mark?
Right,
yeah,
Mark.
I guess we've been going for quite some time.
Yeah, Mark. See if he's here.
Thomas.
Let me know if you see him.
Yeah, I'm looking out here.
So do you want him to email you or hit you up? How do you normally have people email me?
Yeah, I mean, I can go a lot of different routes here. I'm going to see if he's here, and if he's here, then we will.
Beefaroni or SpaghettiOs. God, I forgot all about beefaroni.
Oh,
Do they even make that anymore?
Mark calling again. Oh, yes, Mark is here. 912.
There he is. Okay.
All right. You can, if you have an Instagram and you're able, you can just DM me. Otherwise, do you have your email convenient, Debo? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can email me and I can send it over to Ethan, DEBO'Sfishing@gmail.com. Mark, that'll probably be the easiest. And I'll just send it to Ethan.
Perfect.
Just send me a screenshot of your YouTube so I know it's you. And then you don't need to do your address or anything. Just let me know it's you and an email address for you, I guess, or however you want Ethan to contact you. And then I'll just send your stuff over to him. And then he can get you the gift card or the code, however he's going to do it for his website.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Any way that works for him works for me. Sweet.
Okay. We're going to burn a few more this or that's. Mark, cute doggo. I am a huge doggo fan. I wish I could rescue more, but it is a busy life. Stubby is kind of.
You're just not trying hard enough, I guess.
He's not. Well, yeah. Stubby's not. Oh, pity basset mix. Oh my God, that is cute as hell.
Look at his little legs.
I know, dude. Stubby's like that. I don't know. Is he down here? Stubby dog.
Oh geez.
Oh.
Here he comes.
How old is Stubby?
You're blocked by the thing at the bottom there, Debo.
Hi, Moose.
Oh, his little paws.
You can hear the pitter patter of the feet as soon as I said his name.
Look at his tail.
He's happy to be down here. Stubby dog, look at the cute pit bull.
He's like, dude, I've been wanting to get on this live stream for weeks.
I've been wanting to get my hands on that Peloton.
So actually, my mom and dad were just here, and they have a Brittany. She's just under a year old. Nice. So he's funny because he's not like aggressive, dominant, but he's like kind of, I don't know how to say it. Like he's never bitter and like nothing like that at all. He's super lovey dog, but like if she gets out of control or starts jumping on him, he puts her in her place right away, man. He's pinning her down and is like, don't do that.
I need that Peloton.
That's how I've got a 10-year-old American Bulldog boxer mix, and she, if a dog messes with her long enough, so she's super patient.
That's the same way he is. Yeah.
Once she's like, all right, enough, she'll just grab her paw, put it over their neck, and just like pin them. And it's the funniest thing. It's just like she doesn't bite them, she doesn't do anything like that. She just like pins them, and it's just like, damn. I wish I had.
He'll get after her. He'll get after her after a while. He's like, no, we're not going to do this. You're going to stop that. And she's just like looking away. He's like, got her pinned down. And then it's like, okay, let's go play. All right. Okay. So more this or that. So I start a few. This should be pretty fun here.
There's one from 9:15 from Mike Vogel.
Okay. Let me go find that one. So I'm way behind. This is still from 8:50.
I know Debo's answer.
Okay, what brand of ultralight? So I think actually Ethan talked about this before, but for those of you that missed Burley's, what's your ultralight braid choice?
Yeah, so yeah, you heard this one already, but the Spro Finesse braid is like 30 something bucks. It's expensive, but it's really good. But I would say my number two, if I can't get that, would be Daiwa J Braid X8 Grand, the Grand one. So it's like 16 bucks for 150 yards. So those two would be kind of my top two.
Have you used the gosh, I forget who even makes it now. It's like super thin, man. It is like crazy thin. How thin that stuff is. It's hold on.
Wait, is it like a nano braid?
I got it on sale at Gander. Take a drink. They had some. I think it's more of like a JDM braid. Let me see if I still have some. And then let's see. I will go to the other one real quick. My favorite ultralight, I don't really know. I don't really have any.
Well, what about like just finesse braid?
So I've done either the P-Line TCB, Power Pro Super Slick 10-pound, or Daiwa J braid of any size. I think it's the best budget braid out there, Daiwa J braid.
Question on the Daiwa J braid though. I'm sorry to drag this on. Have you ever had just like these random, just like it just snaps? Like I've had that happen two times. I've caught a lot of fish, but it just like
on the lower poundage, I guess like 30, 35, because for me, if I'm using braid, it's usually like a 60, 65, well, maybe 55 to 65. But on anything like around the 30 mark, I have had just a random braid, like no rhyme or reason to it. It just just pops. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask that on my Instagram, is to see if anyone has, because I've heard about it and it's happened to me once or twice, and I was just curious. Otherwise, it's a wonderful braid.
So as far as a real quick question,
Sunline Siglon. Have you tried this stuff?
I have not tried it. Anything I don't know. Sunline is typically good, though. I would say usually
Sunline makes awesome stuff. Do they make other braids? I don't think Sunline makes braid, do they?
X Plasma.
Oh, I don't know. I've never used that. Oh yeah, I think I do have one. Jim likes that Tackle Junkie.
I've not used it. I got one until I used it in cold water. The second I started using it in cold water, it started giving me issues. And I've found that's the case with a lot of braids, actually.
So it's probably really hard to tell. This, they say, is 16 pound, and it's like thread, man.
Sheesh.
I've got some on my trout setup that is, I think, 10 pound or 12 pound, and it's like, it's crazy. It's not the most durable, but dude, it is tiny, tiny braid. So no, that might be one to look into, Ethan. It's super, super tiny. Sunline Siglon. Give it a look.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, give it a try. I don't know. I'm not good with the ultra finesse stuff. I know a lot of people like the Max Quattro. I got Max Quattro on 50 and broke off I don't know how many times frogging. So I hear that's supposed to be a good finesse one. But
I mean, I'm planning to do some more line testing this year. You know, I got to give you credit to DEBO'S, like you doing so much gear, like informational content. Definitely was part of the reason I was inspired to do some of like the ultralight rod videos.
Good,
and I'm heavy into that because no one else was really doing it. Absolutely. And I started playing with it, and I was like, man, this is kind of fun. I like this, and it feels like people like it too. So now I'm like crazy into it. So I'm never gonna do your thing with the bass side of things, but I'll do more like the ultralight side of things. But
dude, that's cool. The more the better.
Yeah,
the more the better. Because like it's just my opinion, and I forget who it was. I don't remember who it was. Anyway, they were asking me questions about gear, and they were talking about the DEBO'S Champion XP, the blue rod with a Revo on it. They're like, I would really like to get that, but I don't know how it feels. Can you send me pictures with your hand? So I'm like, okay, here's the measurement of my hand. My hand from here to here is like 9.5. It's almost 10 inches from this to this. So it's like that gives you a little bit of an idea. I can just barely palm a basketball. That's what it looks like. And he's like, oh, that actually gives me a really good, like, comparison. Or Randy's like, I got to get my hands on stuff to try it. And a lot of people are like that. So the more, to me, the more gear reviews, Tackle Advisors used to be an awesome one. I don't think he does YouTube anymore. The Real Test is another guy that does real reviews and stuff. I'm just a gear nerd, and I love digging into that stuff. So yeah, the more the better, because it's just my opinion. I'll try to give you the facts.
I don't do the real side of things because I feel like it's so technical, and it's so much more like it's so much more engineering, you know what I mean? And like I just have a hard time with it. But you seem to do such a good job with it, so that's something I feel like I need to learn more about.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. So honestly, some of my favorite.
Stopped it at that. You're a nerd.
Oh, Randy. Okay, so the next question is: would you rather throw Randy into a lake or a river? Either. I would rather throw him into either one. No, the question is just lake fishing or river fishing. For me, lake for sure. Big rivers especially scare me, like the backwaters and stuff. I know it's not really like a big river, but lakes for sure for me.
I would say, I mean, I've fished the Mississippi a few times with old Johnny, and it's like you get out there and like some of that current just starts ripping, and you're coming out of one of those little back cuts, and it's like you got to even punch it just to start doing anything. And I'm like, I would feel more comfortable overall on a lake versus a river.
Rivers are extremely complicated, and they change every
Yeah.
year. Like
They change it constantly. I mean, with the flow, how much flow is coming down, you don't know what's going on necessarily unless you pay attention to the weather everywhere. What's happening north of where you are? Who knows? There could have been a massive storm up there and logs and all that stuff coming down. It's
Got to be on your
sketchy.
game at all times in the river, man. Yeah. How about you?
You never know when there's a homemade pontoon going to come floating up the river playing some Whitney Houston.
We're always. Randy and I were out fishing on the river, and there was this. Yeah, he's talking homemade pontoon. I don't even know how the hell this thing was floating.
It was the big blue 50-gallon drums.
oh my
They
god.
had probably
Dude, it was
3 on each side.
Midwest.
No.
No,
Yeah.
dude, no. They had a stereo blaring Whitney Houston's,
Whitney Houston.
and we'll always in this like freaking pontoon thing, dude. It was.
And it had
Randy
to
and I
been
are both like,
rocking.
Sounds like a party.
yeah, is
It
this
had to
real
been
life?
rocking maybe a 5 or 10 horsepower motor, and it's just pegged at the same time, and it's barely making its way. So the song, we listened to pretty much the entire song, and we're just both looking at each other like, is this actually real life right now?
Oh, that is awesome, Mark. I'm so far behind on comments.
Oh,
He said she's a 75-pound lap dog. Darby May. We live in Louisville and got her from.
75.
Yeah, she's a
Wow. She doesn't
Oh,
look that big in
love
the
it.
photo. It's hard to tell.
meatball. Anyway, sorry. I love dogs, especially shelter dogs. Another fun fact, I worked at the Humane Society for 2 years as my second job, as my night and weekend job, for I think 2 full years on top of my regular job. So love them, love them, love them. Okay, anyway, let's see. We might do one more giveaway here coming up on the 2-hour mark. We've still got 260 people watching. Y'all are
Wow,
crazy.
that's incredible.
Let's see. Bluegill or crappie?
Bluegill.
Then there I would go crappie over bluegill.
Just a catch, or am I catching and keeping?
Just answer the question, Randy.
Yeah, just answer the question.
If,
We're not
okay,
gonna
so
pick this one
I'm
apart.
answering the
This one is
question
simple as it gets. It's
catching and
literally 3
keeping.
words, and he has to.
One doesn't exist tomorrow. Which one you picking?
I'm a crappie. I want to stock
Bluegill.
up as much as possible.
Bluegill. They fight so
Crappie are
hard.
so
They're frisky.
yeah, they
They
do.
are. They are mean little dudes. Maybe it's because I feel like I can go pretty much anywhere and catch a bluegill. Crappie, I feel like you got to find the right spots, the right deal. I'm not a very good crappie angler.
Exactly. So bluegill.
It's funny when
disappeared.
That's
it's
true.
funny
Yeah.
when you start talking
Crappie, we
about
don't care about you.
bluegill.
Go away.
It's funny when you start talking about bluegill
Whoops.
how
So got
they
my
are
banner.
all defined as like the same fish, whether it be like a bluegill or a brim or a shellcracker or like freaking red ear, pumpkin seed. Like everything's just a bluegill.
Yeah.
So crazy how many variations there are.
Yeah.
The sunfish.
Yep.
Tom, this or that, largemouth or smallmouth? This is an interesting one.
Smallmouth.
I'm a largie guy. Cut my
Yeah.
teeth on largies, and
I honestly, I started fishing river when I was really young for smallmouth and moved more to largemouth after the fact. I love the fight of a smallie, but I'm gonna have to go with largemouth.
It's so hard to answer that question.
Yeah,
lake, or as we call it, crick. Lake or crick fishing around here. Lake for me again.
yeah, I would go lake, but I love just getting in a creek and just walking it. I know Backbone Depot, where we've gone through a few times, they have an amazing trout system in there that they used to stock with a fishery or a hatchery in the park. They don't do it anymore, but that thing is always brimming with trout all up in it. It's
I think it still
amazing.
has trout up there in it. I don't know if
Oh,
they
yeah.
have the hatchery there anymore. Yeah.
I don't know if they're natural, like holdovers or rollovers or whatever you want to call them, and they started just breeding on their own. But yeah, so much fun.
I think if it's one trip, I would go with like creek
Oh my
fishing.
gosh,
But I think, if
Stubby's
it's,
eating
like,
popcorn. I have a bag of popcorn.
I think if
Stubby's
it's,
after the pillow.
I think if it's one trip, I go creek fishing. But if it's like the rest of my life, I got to go lake fishing just because.
Oh,
creek
yeah.
fishing, like lake fishing is more complicated and it's got more things and ins and outs where it's like you have more options. Creek fishing is kind of, I mean, it's pretty similar most times, right?
Yeah.
So
You're looking for overhangs, pools, things like that. It's pretty easy.
I
It's not
love
too
creek
much.
fishing, but it's like it would not fulfill me for the rest of my life.
So I got a question for you with, your lures that you make and things like that. It's more ultralight and smaller setups, combos and things. Are you fishing a one piece or do you ever use a two-piece rod when you go out fishing?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you asked that actually, because I get that question quite a bit, like on Instagram or just in YouTube or whatever. I don't have any problem with two-piece rods, and I think
Right.
they're for the most part, I think they get kind of a bad rap. They're like, oh, they're heavier, they're less sensitive. It's like they're really not that much different,
Yeah.
unless if you're into a little bit lower, generally lower quality or lower price point rods, sometimes they
Yeah.
twist and they have
Yep.
problems where all of a sudden your guides are offset, and that's a problem. So I would say,
That little whatever they use for the sealant, I guess, for lack of a better
yeah,
word,
for
on the
sure.
mail end going in, it's yeah, yep, I totally agree.
I,
But for the most part, it's the exact same for me.
yeah, I would prefer I like one piece rod, but I also have the ability to store them, and like there's no reason for me not to go with a one piece rod. But I guess I wouldn't be
Right.
hesitant if I was someone like, look, I live in a one bedroom apartment and I need the space, or like, oh, I've got a small car and I want to be able to break it down. I wouldn't be stressed about it. It's been fine.
I know St. Croix actually has, or at least had, a travelman's special type of rod. It ended up being like a seven-piece rod that broke down into like four or five pieces. It was insane, like how much it broke down. And I don't know if it just never worked out very well and they discontinued it, but I know that was kind of interesting for those people that are trying to get by with, maybe not having access to a truck or, a boat to pull and put all your stuff in. So that's kind of an
Yeah,
interesting thing.
the one I would say, if you want like a travel rod that's like small, the 4-piece Dio Espresso is an incredible rod. Incredible. It performs very similarly to a one-piece rod, but you can put it in a tube about that long. And that's pretty sweet. But again, it's like I want to be clear, like this is ultralight talk. If I'm talking
Yeah.
bass fishing, I definitely prefer like a one-piece rod.
I'm sorry if I showed my crack to everybody again. I apologize. No belt on tonight.
Never apologize, Debo.
Available on OnlyFans.
Yeah, only dude, members only. You wouldn't
Just a
even
taste. Just a
understand what you're
taste.
seeing. Somebody did say the Euro tackle. I've seen people talking about that. I've never used any of it. Have you used any of the Euro tackle stuff, Ethan?
I've never actually used any of their
I
stuff,
don't know where the question went.
but I've heard really good things. So again, I'll never talk trash on any company. I've heard really good things about them, so they're probably wonderful.
Let's see. We're gonna go. I've got some saved. So here's a quick this or that for Stubby. I thought he was eating the bowl of popcorn that I had over there because Dad and I were down here playing Wii bowling with the girls while my wife and Mom went shopping. So this or that, Stubby, a bowl of popcorn or your pillow?
He's not going to answer because
he chose pillow. Is what he was doing, and I caught him red-handed over there, red something over there.
Red something.
Yeah. Oh, Stubby dog, dude, I don't get it. He's never in the life of my dog have I seen him hump anything. No leg, no people, nothing ever. For whatever reason, when I'm down here on a live, it's like he's protesting and goes over there and just hammers away on the pillow. I don't know what the hell. I love that dog to pieces, but I don't understand it. Okay. Kyle, this or that. Nice lures on a cheap rod and reel or cheap lures on a nice rod and reel? That's a good one.
That is a great question.
Gosh, and that's almost technique specific. I'm going to give two answers. Most of the time for most topwater stuff, a cheap rod and reel is all you need because you don't need the sensitivity. You don't need like crazy good stuff. Usually topwater lures for most part are a little bit heavier. However, when it comes to like finesse stuff or like a jig, something where you like need to feel that bite, that's where I'm going with a more expensive rod and reel and cheaper lures. So there's my quick two-parter. Sorry. You guys.
Go ahead.
I'm just still trying to get over the the stubby comments. I'm gonna
Dude, I don't
say
get it. I couldn't believe it when I went over there. He was just hugging the pillow, giving it some love.
and he's just like looking back, like leave me alone. It's my time. I'm going cheap lures on a nice rod and reel. I feel like Debo, we've had this conversation numerous times where you pointed out specifically the what are they the bargain bins, the clearance bins at Walmart on that bottom
Ooh,
shelf where
or
you get all
Shields
of those
around here.
Oh
Shields has
yeah,
some good bargain
100%.
bins. Yep.
You can get all of those lures and you can come across certain things and it's just like I can make this work. And granted, it might be a little bit of cheating, but if I get a cheap spinner bait and, maybe I not necessarily throw a new skirt on it, but throw a trailer hook on it and things like that, and, kind of line it up a little bit better, it's going to work. I'd rather have the feel and usability of a nice rod and reel.
Dang. The Dizzles might have just convinced me, but I think I'm gonna go nice lures on a cheap rod and reel, and the only reason is because I think all of this is it's so hard to know because
very
cheap is
subjective.
different for everyone.
Yes.
But I feel like cheap rod and reels today versus even 5-10 years ago are just on another level. I mean, you can get a $50 or a $70 combo, and it's pretty dang good. So to me, I think I'm going nice lures on a cheap rod and reel because I think like you can get a little more performance, but you still have enough sensitivity. You have enough, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, you can go both. Yeah, you can definitely go make an argument from either, I think.
So hard.
Especially if you're a
That's
beginner.
a really good one. That's a really
real quick for a beginner, I will say it's almost more important to don't go too budget with your gear. Because I know so many people that get into a bait caster, get a super duper cheap bait caster that doesn't work very well, and then that tarnishes their
like crazy.
Yeah, tarnishes their taste of a bait caster forever. So
or it like basically just like grinds out, just explodes after
no time.
That's another thing. It's like you got spinning rods and like a spinning reel. Like I've had spinning reels that are $30 that like last 5 years.
Dude, I completely agree. Yeah.
It's so hard to answer this question.
Spinning reels are actually I've talked to a couple people in the manufacturing business, and making a good spinning reel is like 100 times easier than making a good, like, decent bait caster.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's why people ask me all the time to do ultralight reel reviews. I'm like, I just can't. And because I don't fully understand the reel, and mechanically speaking, like you've got a Shimano Sienna for $30 and you've got the Shimano whatever Vanford and everything in between. They all are doing the same thing. They just all made up of different components. And the higher you go, you get better components. The lower you go, the worse components you get. And it's like, but at the end of the day, they're all they pretty much work the same. They function the same. And that's where I struggle hardcore with reel reviews. So
yeah, there's definitely a drop off of what do they call diminishing returns. Like once you get to a certain price point, the value of you might go up this much, but the step up of like what you're actually getting for the review, the reel, definitely starts to
curve.
Let's see. Okay, we're still over 250 people. I can't believe that. We'll do another giveaway here in just a minute.
Incredible.
So I've got to zap Mac real quick. Mac is the OG of This or That's. Mac Flanagan. This or That. Making jigs or making soft plastics. Have you guys done both?
I'm gonna say I haven't done a whole lot of really either.
Did you make jigs at my house that one time or no?
I did. Yeah. I put a couple of together, but I feel like there would be more of an avenue to go down making soft plastics, because that whole genre is so vast and wide. There's so many different options to pour and things like that. And making different color selections, you're kind of limited with jigs, with what paint color for the head and hook type and then skirt type. You're kind of horseshoed into you got to do it this way. So I'm going plastics.
100%.
I would go jigs. Plastics,
Really?
yeah, plastics are more finicky. They take a lot longer, Jigs are almost like once I get it, and I'm talking about just the pouring portion. Once I get into pouring jigs, it's almost therapeutic. It's almost like a challenge to, if I have 100 pack of hooks, it's almost like a challenge of how long is it going to take me to run these 100 hooks into actual jigs. And then you get to do the dipping process, which is really easy. I use, the powder coat, dip it in the powder coat and done, and then tying skirts. And I just do wire tie. Nick, I don't know if Fat Boy, you need to change your name to Fit Boy Fishing. Dude is on a weight loss journey and kicking my tail because I haven't been working out. But he does, thread tying. You can get real fancy with it. But yeah, plastics I think are just overall more finicky. So
that makes sense. I would go with making plastics though, and the reason is because like I feel like with plastics you can really do a lot more creative things. And if it's for me, just
you can get crazy,
like if I'm just making them for myself, like plastics gives you so many abilities to do so many things. And the other thing is you can make your own molds. Like you can literally take clay, build it into a design, bake it, and then put like what's it called? Plaster of Paris or whatever, and make your own mold. And it's super cheap to do so. Whereas like making a lead jig is a little bit more, it takes a little bit more getting into. Like you have to purchase the mold. You're not going to be able to make your own mold for something like that. So I think plastics, but I totally understand where you're coming from, Debo. Yeah.
I am. Oh my gosh, I am so far behind on comments. I'm sorry, guys. I'm catching up to some of it jumped up to the most recent. I'm kind of flipping back. I've got a couple more I have saved still from, this is 8:51. So to tell you anything, Kraken Bass, this or that, soft plastics only or everything else. So the rest of your fishing career, and I'm going to throw in soft plastics. We'll even do a little gimme on that. Your terminal tackle stuff in there is fine. But he's talking about
talking like shaky head,
Texas rig, Ned rig, versus everything else. So that would be like spinner baits, crankbaits, swim jigs.
Is it jig everything else?
Jig would have to be everything else. I'm putting everything else. Yeah. Because the soft plastic isn't the main part. You can fish a jig without a soft plastic, but you can't really fish a Ned rig without a soft plastic. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
But it would just literally be a hook on a piece of wood. Yeah.
A lead and hook. I'm sure it's been a YouTube video. Somebody's done it. Insane lead and hook challenge only.
Insane. I'm on a Florida residential pond that no one
alligator skin
with a gun in it.
What's a skin alligator have to do with the Ned rig challenge?
Oh, Karen is after me.
Karen rode in on alligator and stole my Ned rig.
I'm fishing with Norm. Oh, sorry.
Oh, poor Norm. I'm going everything else. I think there's a lot of things that I can do. Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that I can do to get around plastics and still catch fish. Number one is frog fishing.
Philip
I'm doing plastics.
Philip G. Cops called. We forgot Cops called. I'm going everything else. The bummer for me, Ethan, I don't know if you've thrown it. Have you thrown a free rig yet? Or how often do you throw?
I actually have not. That's actually one thing I have not tried yet, and I fully intend to.
That has been my go-to. This will actually be the third season, right, Debo? Well, I guess the first year I did it was
2 years strong. Yeah.
Yeah, very late in the first season, and I had a lot of success with it. And then last year it probably caught more than jigs. I love jig fishing. That's like my ride or die 100%, but the free rig caught me more fish, and there's just something different about it. I felt was, definitely something positive. So yeah, that's my big struggle. What's that?
I can't believe you both went that everything else. Like to me, soft plastics is such a huge percentage of bass fishing. Like it is. And you can do everything with soft plastics. Like I can run a Stanley rivet as a topwater. I can run a weightless worm or a fluke as a topwater. I can run a craw as my jig. I can run a Texas rig. Like to me, I'm soft plastics, not even.
Yeah, listen, Randy 2.0. This isn't try to change me and convince me.
I'm changing you.
Vote the other way. You're on the soft plastic island by yourself. I get Dizzle on this one for a while.
Have fun with your crankbaits, bro. I am sticking to my soft plastics.
I'm fishing frogs and crankbaits and chatterbaits. Don't change your answer, Brandy. Quiet. Brown Bait Co. Brennan. This or that. Tungsten or lead jig heads?
If I don't have
Jig
to pay for it, I'm
heads.
going tungsten.
Note it says. So I am a huge believer in Texas rig tungsten worm weights. I haven't messed hardly at all with tungsten jig heads. I'll be honest. I don't know that I have any really.
I've used a few. I feel like they are a lot for me, that I feel like they break off easier. Maybe that's just me in my head
That's just you suck at fishing, getting snagged.
I probably do just suck at it, but I feel like I get hung up more. I don't know if that's because of like a regular lead head is a little bit bigger for where I'm fishing versus a tungsten's going to be a little bit smaller. It might go into the
profile
cracks and crevices a little bit better and get hung up. I don't know. I'm changing my vote. I'm going to lead head.
So this is again one of those ones where it's like, do I pay for it? Do I not? If I don't,
it's on DEBO'S bill. So you go.
If it's on DEBO'S bill, I'm going tungsten, and part of the reason is environmental. The lead side of things ultimately in the long haul is probably not like sustainable for our waterways and our wildlife.
Yep.
I understand though that is what's efficient in today's age, right? Like we don't have the ability to make tungsten efficiently. It's like 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit or some ridiculous thing to melt tungsten. So we've got a long ways to go to make that a little bit more viable question. But if it was free, tungsten.
It's like back in the day, I remember going to a sportsman outdoor show. Like the sportsman show, they had like a seminar with somebody, I think it was from Gulp or something like that. When the Gulp Alives came out, they were one of the, I guess, first that were a little bit more biodegradable when they went into water versus like any other plastic. So you pull out a fish maybe, or you see a lure on the bank that is a plastic and it's bloated and expanded and that whole nine. So that's a very good point when you look at, from, an environmental standpoint. Like I would way rather use a tungsten or something that is going to break down and dissolve and not be a harm for, the things that I'm doing what I do because of them. So that's a really good point.
If you really think about it too, it's like modern fishing hasn't been around very long. Like we haven't really done, like we've had a pretty big footprint, as is. But the reality is like soft plastics. What is that? When was that invented? Like DEBO, you actually probably know.
I did. So the first soft plastic worm was, gosh, off the top of my head, I don't remember anymore. It was Cream that made it.
60s, maybe? Late 60s, 70s?
God, I think the first BASS tournament was, God, dude, I don't even remember when that was.
Or something.
Yeah, it was Cream Lures that made it. And I actually, initially they made them out of rubber and like a hard rubber. Then they had to redo the actual, getting into that. I don't know how long it took for them to get into like the
1949.
Okay, so either way, I guess my point is like, so that was the beginning. We're now to the point where it's like it's widespread. We all do it, and the sport is growing. So like, we're still so early on in this, and the reality is, it's like if it's not actually able to degrade over time, or if it's not actually environmentally friendly, it's only going to have more and more of an impact over time. Again, I'm not like a super like ridiculous like tree hugger or anything like that, but I think it's something we all need to be like cognizant of, like from a conservation standpoint, and like being respectful of our environment. Because the reality is like I want my son to fish, and his son, and his whatever, his daughter, and this, that, and the other thing. And if our population continues to grow and we just keep being hard on the environment, then the fish are not going to be available.
Has there been an overall, like, I'm not saying that there hasn't been a negative impact by using these non-biodegradable, they're going to stay in the water for infinite years, like lures, or is there, I haven't heard a whole lot of like any I'm not saying that it's not bad for the environment whatsoever. I just don't know as if I've heard a whole lot of negative impacts by using them. Is there anything that's
Or I'll go mute.
is there anything that has like been in the not the media necessarily, but like that you've heard of that is overly bad outside of just the upfront negative impacts?
No, I don't. Honestly, again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know how this stuff works. I think
Sure.
it's more like a matter of we started on lead versus tungsten, and
Yeah.
so like soft plastics obviously got brought into it, and I don't know what a soft plastic actually does after 10 years. Like, does it turn into
Yeah,
dust?
I think it just stays there. I mean, I've caught so my buddy back in the day, I fished with him for probably 15 solid years, and his grandpa had a pond. Still has a pond. And we'd go out there because there was fives galore, giant catfish, dinner plate, bluegill, the whole nine. And then it got to the point where it got stunted with the little bass coming in the whole nine, and it got bad. But I remember catching, it was almost a 5 pound bass, and it had um like a Lake Fork, I think, like not a Senko, it's Senko type, but it was like a ribbed Senko with the sectioned all the way down the body, Lake Fork worm, and like in its gullet, and it bit whatever lure I happened to be throwing. And I know if I was fishing that and I broke off on that fish, it must have been at least a year prior, which really just surprises me that that fish swam around for maybe a year or months or whatever it may be with that stuck in its throat. So I don't know if that's if that's something that leads towards the, I guess, the bad guy side of f the environment, who cares, just throw whatever you want, doesn't matter if you break off, or is that a one in a million chance that that fish happened to live? So
I don't know. I think ultimately, I think we both probably just agree that it's like, I think all of us, no matter, again, I don't
I
want
would I
to like
wouldn't say all of
hardcore
us.
this
Sorry
way.
to
I
jump the
think it's just
horse
like
there.
we just need to continue to try to understand it as a
Oh yeah,
sport, right? And just continue to try to get better as a sport. Like, we don't have to do any hard 180s. I'm not worried about
yeah.
that. Like, I'm still gonna go throw my all my plastics. I'm still gonna throw my lead. I'm not stressed about it. It's more a matter of like
Yeah,
we just continue to try to improve and hopefully have the least amount of footprint as possible. Because I think that's
yeah.
ultimately we all want to do, right?
100%. And I know I think we're in 100% the exact same boat. And I know I brought this up time and time before. The Iowa DNR, actually, if you go onto their website, you can get like it's like a mesh bag, like a reusable grocery sack that you would get. They'll send you two of those that you can just take with you when you go fishing, if you're fishing the bank or whatever. And you can just throw all your junk in there. It's a mesh fishing bag. I keep one in the back of my truck. I gave Debo one, and they send you two of them. I have to assume it costs them a few bucks to mail it, produce it, whatever. But that's awesome, and it's just unfortunate. We've talked about this again. All the people during the pandemic when it really hit, just trashing the waterways and things like that. And it's really unfortunate that
Yeah.
us
Well, that's
better
actually
people or good people kind of get a bad name.
yeah. I'm gonna
Okay, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in real quick.
go ahead, Vito.
I'm gonna do a poll for the last giveaway. So good talk, good stuff. You guys don't need to do hashtag Mule again, unless you're just getting in. You didn't do hashtag Mule before. You
Can
don't
I
need
do
to
it
do it
6
again.
more times?
Yeah, it takes out all the duplicate comments of the hashtags in there. So if you think you didn't do it one more time. Yeah, nobody. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, yeah, I don't give a crap, Debo. I'm putting hashtag Mule in here. Put a hashtag Mule if you want to, but you don't need to. So I'm going to do a poll. So we're going to keep going here. I've still got, let's see, that was Brendan's. I've got one last one here while I'm thinking. That was from 9:17. That's how far behind I am on looking at this, or that's her comments. So, finesse drop shot or flipping drop shot. So, Ethan, go ahead and talk about what you were talking about before I jumped in. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Mule. I have a waterway cleanup initiative. So if basically every time someone purchases something, either I commit my time, or I commit my finances to cleaning
That's
up waterways.
amazing.
And what that's looked like in the past is I've actually, when I first started it, I was cleaning up as many rivers in my area as I could. And then I realized that I outgrew that initiative. And so I've started financially contributing as well to Living Lands and Waters, which is a wonderful organization that basically cleans up waterways across the United States, as well as American rivers. So I've donated financially to both of those organizations. Either way, that's enough about Mule. This question was, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Finesse drop shot. I've never
over. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this.
And I think there's other applications for a flipping drop shot that I think would work just as good. So I'm gonna go finesse drop shot because I think it adds more value to me.
I have no take either way because I don't really drop shot at all. But I would probably say a finesse drop shot over a flipping, just because I don't even know what a flipping drop shot would consist of.
Debo,
Debo, are you still muted? Are you sleeping? Debo, did you fall asleep?
No, I'm on the other tab getting the. I have to do the dual tab thing because StreamYard's stupid and you can't do polls or anything from it. So I've got a blank or a muted YouTube deal open up. Finesse drop shot or flipping drop. What? Why is drop shot in either of those? Neither. I'm just not going fishing.
He's just going home.
Yeah, I'm going home. That's the rig I'm throwing. Finesse drop shot or finesse. Oh, sorry, or flipping drop shot. What is am I dumb? What is a flipping drop shot?
I think it's just like a power fish.
Oh, like a power shot.
Power shot.
I haven't got into it. So the boys over at oh gosh, why am I blanking? There was a dude that did it, and then Looking for Fish. Gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. Somebody else did it. Anyway, my guys over at Looking for Fish did it too. They had a different name for it, but yeah, like the power shot is honestly not something I've done. I'm not smart enough to talk about either when it comes to drop shot. I guess finesse. That's really all I've done, and I'm not good at that. But yeah, that's my answer. Okay, I'm going to jump back over to live. We need to talk about something here because I'm still trying to figure out the other thing real quick, get my entries in. I've got a couple entries. We're going to do a quick poll. It's going to have to be quick because Ethan's getting tired there. I saw him yawning. Now he's stretching his neck.
The whole time.
Dizzle, I can see. He actually just sent me a text. He says, I've got more wood to chop. Get with it here.
Oh my God.
So let's see.
In actuality, it's Debo that's getting sleepy. I saw him yawning and rubbing his eyes.
Dude, 8:30 is like bedtime as of late. 8:30 is when we put the girls to bed. I go lay in bed for like 30 minutes. Look at ASMR, dudes cleaning shoes, puts me to sleep, and I'm out by like
pillow. You know, it's like everybody's just settling down for the night.
Ooh, maybe that should be my question. What's your favorite ASMR to look at night to go to bed? Mine is.
I already told you, mine's lo-fi with some thunderstorm rain.
No, yours is cleaning rugs.
No, that's not what I listen to go to sleep.
Cleaning shoes though is on a whole different level.
It's going to be wood chopping soon enough.
That's not going to be your ASMR. That's going to be tips and tricks how to. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I like the way that guy chops wood.
You make sure to keep your axe sharp and make sure to do a 15-degree grind.
Ethan's like, what the hell did I get into? Like, is there any way I can fake like a house fire and get out of this or something?
It couldn't be any weirder than the Burley Boys.
Yeah, we're basically just an extension of those guys. So
I mean, Burley and Debo are twins.
We are, dude. I'm getting a little bit fatter now and not as fit as him. My hair's getting long. Like I got to get a haircut here. Hair's long. I'm put on a few pounds. Burley's the handsomer of us now. So, okay. So I did have one weightless or weighted Texas rig. This is an interesting one. I want to hear you guys' take because I kind of have my take. I'm going to be mute though. I'm going to go get this poll done real quick. Then we'll do a giveaway.
Go ahead, Dizzles.
Weightless or I'm going weighted, but I guess my extension on that question would be pinned or unpinned or pinned to a degree. What would you say?
Weighted. I mean, yeah, no question.
So, or not pinned, but pegged. Do you normally peg it right at the weight, or do you give it a little bit of a lead, or how do you go about fishing?
I tend to peg it just because I tend to throw Texas rig. I mean, I fish pretty close quarters if I'm throwing a Texas rig, and so
Sure.
I like the peg to kind of get me up and through. If I was out there dragging something, throwing it up
Yeah.
100 feet down the way and dragging it, I might not peg it to where I kind of have it rise up a little bit. But if I'm throwing a Texas rig around, I'm probably going to be pretty close quarters, and I like to peg it. Either way, though,
Yeah. I
just generally
usually.
speaking, I think weighted gives you that's
Oh
still
yeah.
it's all about applications for me. Like weighted gives you 80% of applications, weightless gives you 20%. I'm taking weighted.
Yep. 100. I agree 100% with you. I mean, my biggest thing is the thing that I like to play around with is when I throw it, am I doing like a peg directly against the weight, or am I giving it maybe 2, 3 inches off of it? I like to give it just a little bit of movement away from the weight. I think it's always a little bit of help.
So my go-to is, I'm sorry, I was typing when I was doing that. I honestly wasn't listening. I was
Hello.
multitasking. Yeah, not well. So if I can get away with it, 90% of the time I'm going unpegged. I think it's got a freer, better action on the way down. It doesn't look like a bullet or a rock sinking. But once I start getting into any sort of thick, not necessarily thick cover, as long as it's big, like bulky branches, unpegged is still fine. But once you start to get into like the really brushy, fingery stuff, man, you're asking for bad news once you get unpegged in that. So if I can get away with it unpegged in the really thick stuff, that's when I peg it. And sometimes in grass, going back to what Ethan was talking about before, even in thick grass, depending on how much room I've got to work with, if it's really thick grass that's only a foot or 2 foot off the bottom and I'm fishing in 6 foot of water, I'll still go unpegged with a lighter weight because my weight will drop down and then the plastic will kind of fall back with it. And even if my weight goes down into it, 6-8 inches, the plastic is usually big enough, it'll kind of get stuck up top. So you have like a little, what's the word? Hit in the head too many times when I was younger. You'll have a little bit of slack. So you'll feel that slack of the weight pull up through the grass. And then once you reel it up a little bit, you'll feel the whole thing and it'll kind of drop down. So that is actually another really good way to work shallow or grass that's not, all the way to the top, not super matted, when you can kind of fish over it, is an unpegged, really light, like 3/16 ounce Texas rig. Okay, I'm going to give it one more minute. We're going to ask one more question, then I'm pulling the poll, and we're going to do a giveaway, and then we're getting out of here. Ethan might already be asleep. I'm not even sure. He might have painted. Yeah, I think he painted stuff on his eyelids, so it looks
He
like
painted the eyelids,
Yeah.
or you put on those
He's like,
glasses
"Oh."
that
I have
have the eyelid
tattoos.
on.
I have tattoos over my eyelids. They're
Yeah, he's
eyeballs.
got the automatic rocking chair, so it looks like he's just saying yes to everything with his painted eyelids.
His mouse is on a Roomba, just moving around.
I've
So one of those birds that has the automatic.
Yes.
I've got enough
Dogman.
fishing footage to where I can just click play and it'll just audio is going.
Just
Texas rig.
random.
It's like
Ned
it's
rig.
a random soundboard that little bird keeps pecking. It's just like,
Oh yes, I like the Ned rig for this application.
Oh yeah, light line is great for finesse fishing. Did I
It's
tell
like
you
we're
about this
talking
cool
about
finesse rig I
topwater
have?
frogs.
Okay, let's see. Let's find one more fun one.
Wait, I do
And
actually have a question for Ethan though, because we haven't necessarily covered it. And this is something, Debo, I'm kind of
yeah, ask it. Okay,
disappointed
I'm not going to find
that
one.
we traditionally cover. What's your PB? What's your favorite method of fishing?
So my bass fishing PB, I did not bring a scale with me that day, but I think it was probably a hair over 7 pounds. It's 23.5-inch fish. I caught it on a bomber fat-free shad, citrus shad color.
Citrus shad, the bright blue chartreuse.
Yeah, so
I like that. Was it dirty water?
It was definitely stained. It was a power plant lake, and it was back home in Kansas. And I caught it
for Kansas too.
Yeah. So again, that's my guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably somewhere within a few ounces.
Oh, Randy, before I forget, I'm going to jump in. Ethan, hold that.
Go ahead.
Out on the ice, I heard guys talking about it. I don't know if it's true or not, but a young girl, I don't know how old, her dad was pissed off. Well, happy for her, but pissed because he said apparently he had fished for years. Brought into Hanks 7.8 pound through the ice bass.
Jeez.
Shut up.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not, because these were the same guys that were making fun of me for having a hut and a big auger. Whole different tirade that I'll have to get on. We'll have to do a members this week. Yeah, I got stuff to fill you in on. So funny stuff. Anyway, Greg, you missed it after you left. So sorry,
So
go ahead.
That was my biggest bass. And then did you ask my favorite bass fishing lure?
Yeah, a favorite method, and I do actually want to follow up just real quick. Panfish, PBs, I guess, bluegill or crappie or whatever you kind of target.
I'm glad you asked that, because I caught so like over the last couple of years, I'm trying to find a picture of that largemouth. I know I have it on here, but about a year, not this previous May, but the May prior, I set a goal catching a 10-inch bluegill here in Michigan, and I wanted to document the series. And a 10-inch bluegill here in Michigan is a master angler. Not all states have those programs, but Michigan does. And essentially, what a master angler is they qualified as basically a trophy class fish. And so I set that goal because I thought it'd be a fun thing to document. Either way, this May, so about however many months ago that was, 7 months ago, I caught a 10.25-inch female bluegill. So that would be likely my PB bluegill. I don't know. I mean, honestly, before I got into fishing for them heavy, I might have caught one of these days. I don't know. But either way, recently, that's definitely my PB. And then from a crappie standpoint, I've never really tracked it heavily. I would say probably something in the 14.5-inch class if I was a betting man. But I don't know what kind of weights we're talking about. Overall, the bass is definitely still the highlight, though. I mean, over a 7-pound bass on a crankbait, deep cranking. I mean, it was just very exciting for me.
So that's cool that you bring up the master angler thing, and those catches are beyond amazing. I don't think I've caught anything that I would ever have deemed something to be a master level. But I remember fishing up in Okoboji Lakes. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but I ran into this guy, and he said that he was trying for the Iowa DNR master angler species requirements. And I think there's 40-ish, maybe a little bit more than 40 different species that you have to kind of document as far as length and size, and there's a minimum length that you have to catch, but 40 plus species within Iowa, then you submit it to the DNR and get some sort of an award.
That's insane.
But just as soon as you brought up that master angler type of thing, that's awesome that a state will do something like that and recognize somebody for it as well.
Yeah, I want to do more of that. The bluegill was awesome because it was a year-long journey. I caught a lot of 8+, 9-inch, and it's wonderful and it's exciting. But then there's that built-up desire to hit that number, right? It's just the same as when you're first getting into bass fishing. You're I want to catch a 5-pound bass, right? And you're I have to cross that, and it takes a long time to catch a 5-pound bass. I mean, for most people, right? Unless you have special waterways. And then you finally catch it, and you're just this is awesome. And then you want to catch a 6-pounder, right? But either way, the bluegill, it took me about a year to do it, and it was incredible. And now I have that same desire for a lot of other species. I want to do the same thing for yellow perch and pumpkin seed, and crappie and a lot of things. So
I know
baitcaster or always spinning. I didn't think this out real well.
I know it's always a great thing to set goals and things like that. I know for me, each year around my birthday, I give myself a little bit of a leeway because I'm getting up in age now. But I give myself about a week's time before and after my birthday to catch as many fish as I am years
First
old.
comment gets it.
So my last year I didn't catch them just with the water being down. It wasn't right, but I did it for 4 to 5 years prior to that. So I think starting at 35 up until 34 up until almost 40, and then I think I missed 41. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to go for each month or each year is around my birthday to catch as many fish as I am years old. And that's always something fun and kind of that I look forward to, that whole idea of not a master thing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't set a goal for this year, but I really need to set some kind of goal. I think it is fun to like set something and then kind of
Sorry for
track
that.
against it.
Mm-hmm.
Guys got another freebie. Hey,
Holy smokes.
$10 a month, $10 a month, and you'll get more of that.
Debo muting us again. I saw that too.
Did I? I'm sorry, dude. I didn't wear a belt today, and it's, dude. Talk about walking in my bibs ice fishing, dude. They kept falling down the whole time. Anyway, I need to remember that. The good thing is I've lost like 7 pounds, and I'm hovering at that. My pants now fit a little bit less. The bad thing is these are 38s. And I used to wear.
That's why
like
when you wear
34s.
your bibs, so you don't even have to like dress warm. You can just full on gym shorts with your bibs on.
Yeah, I don't do that. I hate cold. Okay, so I asked real quick, baitcaster spinning. I'm going to do spinning. I've got the Okuma Cymar Tactical HD Green. So this is one I used for the year. Worked well. Actually, a pretty smooth little reel. I think it's only like a, I don't know, $70 reel, $60 reel, something like that. Nothing too crazy, but worked well. I had it on the Fenwick Elite Bass. I'm going to have to do a review of that. That was honestly a rod that I had zero expectations for. Well,
Okay.
expectations, because I'm like, it's Fenwick, like, but I actually like those rods a lot. This reel too, pretty smooth little reel. Let me see here. I will just show real quick. So that's what it is. If you want to enter or not, I guess it doesn't matter. We're not doing another entry into it. I'm just going to do the
roll that footage.
The roll. So there it is. We're getting out of here. And as I said, it's there we go. Already under 250. You old dirty dogs, you. Close that out. And where is it? Where is it? Let me find my switch.
You're not sharing. People are
I
gonna say you
know.
cheating.
I had to close the deal here.
Oh man.
Okay. So last one, and then we're getting out of here because I am tired, and you all have been 2 hours, 30 minutes. This is one of our longest. Ethan, thank you, dude. Yeah. So for anybody, while I'm bringing this up, for anybody that doesn't know you, Ethan, where can they find you? What do they need to look up real quick?
Fish Anything. If you look that up on just about any social media, you'll find me. And feel free to send me a DM or something. I'm always happy to answer any questions we didn't get to tonight.
Yeah, I got to say the whole concept of Fish Anything is an amazing idea. I know, Debo, we had an outing a couple of, I don't know, outings back where I was like, hey, let's fish this runoff thing right here. We ended up catching tons of fish, and I like that idea.
Well, I appreciate it.
Is it go fishing? You better not be in like Zimbabwe.
He's in Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's French. What is it? French? What do they call it?
God, what is that called?
Not Creole. Creole is like African mixed with
Creole.
Something. No, it's not Creole. Creole African.
Go Tigers.
Oh, what do they call it?
Tungsten.
There we go. Like, someone else said it too. Alabama's worst angler was Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
We're talking
Coach O or whatever.
Yeah. Cajun.
He lives in Kansas now, he says.
Is it French Canadian? Is that what it is? It's not French Canadian, is it?
French Canadian.
I thought there was a name for it, for the French speaking people in Louisiana. Anyway, I don't know. Are you in here? Go.
Lesson. Yeah, he's here. 10-10.
Oh, did I miss it?
Yeah, I made like 16 comments since you drew his name.
How have I not?
I live in Kansas now. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, there it is. I live in Kansas now. Okay, got it.
Kansas guy.
Hey, at least you're not some crazy place to send it. Okay, so go fishing. Send me an email, DEBO'Sfishing@gmail.com with a copy of your screenshot of your YouTube, If you want, I'll throw in some line with it too. I've still got mono backing on it. And then if you want some braid or something, I'll hook you up. Let me know. Listen, we're getting out of here. Go fish. Oh, is it go fish? Is that a play on words? DEBO'S fishing at email or Jesus. DEBO'S fishing at gmail.com. And I'm taking it off real quick. Okay. So anyway, go follow Ethan. Ethan, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. That was a long one. I appreciate you staying, hanging out. You're a good dude. Go follow him. Go check out Mule Fishing. Go check out Dizzle. Subscribe to him. Hopefully we'll get him to 1,000 subs here before even having one video.
I'll be forced to post a video.
So he'll have to do a video. Yes. Anyway, listen, we're getting out of here. Love y'all. Thank you all for watching. And until next live.